Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Alpha Scrims number 13. We're almost ready to go. I'm hereby joined by my loyal co-caster, F equals MA. I'm gonna
Howdy.
zoom in so you can see him a little bit more clearly. And we're just waiting for the players to start. This is going to be a fairly short tournament. It's just going to be semi-finals into finals kind of tournament, best of 5 into best of 7. But the players level, it's kind of high. We have Art, Vindicta, Cuddlebear and Antis fighting each other to win today's Alpha Scrims. As I said, edition number 13. So, have you ever casted one of these events yourself?
I haven't actually. No, I've played in some of the monthly Alpha Cups. Normally get my teeth kicked in by H-Jacks or someone pretty early on. But never, obviously, never played in one of these, and this is the first time casting one of these scrims. So I'm excited.
I actually was the first caster of the first Alpha Scrims. Then I just didn't do it for like ages. So I'm also kind of excited about doing this again. So we're just waiting for the players. Our first series for today is going to be Vindicta versus Antis. So it's going to be some CVT action. I'm kind of excited for it as well. Like, whoever is a big fan of StarCraft 2, like, can't really be not a fan of CVT. It's just probably the OG matchup, right? Like Zerg versus Terran has to be like the matchup everyone loves the most. Just because reasons, you know? Just because that's where everything started, mostly. So it's a little bit like Orc versus Human in Warcraft. You know, it's kind of the same.
Yeah, I think they're definitely, when people think of StarCraft a lot of times, I mean, all three races come to mind, but there's the kind of primal Zerg side versus like the humans. I think that storyline is
just the most common aliens versus humans kind of of archetype. So the players are ready to go, and we are as well. It's going to be, as I said, Antis versus Vindicta. Our first map is going to be Zen. Actually, I'm fairly surprised about it.
Yeah, I didn't see. I know the players went through and did picks and bans. I believe, if I take a look at this, it was Vindicta who got first choice.
Yes, it was him.
So,
well,
looks
who knows?
like. Oh, here we go. All right.
Could be for quite a lot of reasons, actually. So, let's see what it's his plan. Not a strong, aggressive player in the early game. He's very solid in his early defense, actually. But he is kind of a late game beast. Vindicta, of course. I've seen him take games, well, where the odds were not in his favor, not at all. So I guess that's where he wants to actually push it.
Yeah, makes sense. You can, safely take that second and try to move on to that third. Well, looks like we're in here already. You want to introduce our first player here?
Of course, let's start. In the bottom left-hand corner of Zen, you're currently looking at the base of the blue Terran. His name is Vindicta.
And spawning in the top right, his opponent, wearing the red, Zerg player, we have Antis.
Also, a fun fact about me and Antis, I was actually convinced he was French for like almost a year, so yeah.
Nice. I believe Antis is a US player, right?
He's North American. Okay. All of these players are North American. I think. Well, actually, no. Art is Polish. Yeah. Actually, yeah. And Vindicta is half Mexican, like just half.
Yeah.
His mom is Mexican, if you were wondering.
All right. Well, looks like pretty standard openings here so far. Nothing too spooky from either player. We've got Hatch into Pool, and Zerg, and the racks and the gas here from our Terran. So No mind games as of yet.
Yeah, I guess Zen is not the really... Well, it's weird to say, but in this matchup, it's actually not really good to go hyper-aggressive. Maybe it can be for Zerg, but it's a little bit of a waste of resources for Zerg to go hyper-aggressive in this matchup without a plan, really. And for Terran, there is not a lot of good proxy location, actually.
Yeah, for
also,
sure.
Setting up a contain with a bunker, it's not really easy because of overload pathing and stuff such as that. It's a lot more easy. It's a lot easier than what I just said, but I hope it made sense.
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty clear. Yeah, I think Zen does have one of the shorter distances between the maps, but because of all these choke points with the minerals, it can be a little dicey to try to do some early aggression. So a little bit of Reaper Ling, bouncing back and forth here.
Just the usual dance. I like to call the Reaper Ling dance. Just it's a tango, like
yeah.
You have to pay the Reaper tax most of the times, but sometimes you just don't. Yeah, it's just a minor effort. I think most players just do this to just get into their nerves, into their reflexes.
Some Lings coming over here trying to delay the command center. Of course, the 2 Marines will shoo those Lings away.
Yeah, no, not the biggest of deals once again. Just going to be this far a fairly standard, solid macro game for both of the guys. Nothing real out of the ordinary yet. We haven't yet to see the first tech choice for either of those players. We see actually Vindicta going for a 330 command center, not the weirdest of things, but we also see him actually floating his Rex to get this overload over here, just for feeding a little bit of marine production. These Lings actually get a pretty good surface area on top of the Marines, getting 2 of them for free. These overload won't fall, not yet.
Yeah, and that's actually a pretty interesting choice here. I think Vindicta was trying to go for a free overlord there. He's not using the barracks anyway, but at this point he kind of just showed that he wasn't going to use it, and then lost the Marines, like you said, for free to those Lings.
Also, maybe he was like trying to go into Liberator first. Then again, it's not like the most important of things, but if you want to go Liberator first, like not telling your opponent exactly when you're about to eat with your Liberator is kind of a good thing. Right now he's going back in first, he's going to take some control, some vision, just force all of these overloads to retreat into their hatcheries where queens can defend them, and that's exactly what they're doing. Meanwhile, Vindicta is actually clumping up a pretty high number of aliens at the doorstep of Antis, who is actually very well positioned right here. Also blocked the mineral wall in his natural with an evolution chamber that just now started researching +1 melee and +1 carapace. So looks like Antis is very much prepared for this kind of early harass. Vindicta double Rex before getting his fur base going. Just the most average ZVT I've ever seen this far. Alair gets started by Antis pretty much exactly when he wanted it. Not a second later, not a second earlier. We're yet to see Antis try to take a 4th base, and immediately I didn't even finish to say that. Incredible.
Yeah. Alright, it's game coming down, a little bit of creep getting cleared by Vindicta here.
We see this Liberator finally starting to pump up the action, and he will get first blood, finally. Actually, just first worker blood, of course.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to.
Couple of the Marines.
Yeah, after the Marines, yes. But it seems like the aggressor looks like, at least, it is going to be Vindicta. He's doubling down with the Rex, of course, getting to a more comfortable number. A lot of lanes actually dying just now to get a hold of these aliens and Reapers, find where they're at. And these aliens are actually going to do a little funky move to the left, dodging the lanes and getting a lot of damage. One of them almost falls, as well as the Reaper, but in the end forcing Antis into 28 more lanes. A little bit more, of course, because of the incoming push that just comes always from the Terran players with Bane speed. Not going to be ready exactly when Antis is going to need it. Oh, it's going to be a little bit late, but then again, just with links and a couple Banes, it should be holdable for Antis without losing a single. Actually, these Banelings actually trying to get on top of the Marines, because the run from the links just doesn't come yet, and here it comes. The links get a full surface onto those Marines. Banelings not even called into action, and Antis taking its very first victory of this first game, I'd say. A minor victory, of course, but deflecting the push without basically losing anything, not the smallest of deals.
Yeah, while all this skirmish was happening, obviously I think you saw the Lings running over to the third base of Vindicta, and then there's the Liberator in the back of Antis' base. Both players, making sure to keep up that multitasking, and a nice scan coming down. The Lings coming here, getting on top of the tanks, actually.
Top of the tanks, yes, getting a lot of damage. One of them falls for free. Some SCVs also forced to fall. Whole position not yet issued from Antis. Just gonna be an attack command on some of these SCVs. 3 are going to fall, but the tank falling down. I think it's the second time falling. No, it's just the first one, because the first one was saved by Vindicta with Medivac. But yeah, Antis getting some counter damage, it looks like.
Yeah, no, I do think it was important to note.
Yeah, great help me.
I was going to say there was a scan while that was going down, so if Antis was looking, he did see the Spire and the Infestation Pit building. Both of the structures are complete now.
Very good scan by Vindicta, and I think he actually saw it, because we see drilling close, and the first door just started by Vindicta, who's getting ready with Widow Mines and Force to actually counter any kind of airplay coming from Antis. It looks like it's going to heavy leg game yet. As you said, the Infestation Pit forces a hive, and then it's late game.
Yeah, for sure. Vindicta doing some cheeky moves, pushing back some of the creep in the north while forcing a cancel on the hatchery down in the bottom right. A little bit of a skirmish here between the Lings. Okay, Lings running in and running back.
Yeah, Vindicta very mobile, very clever with his Medivac play, but the mutas are about to come. I mean, he does have some Widow Mines, he does have a 4, but yeah. Antis being a little bit pushed back and forth between his farthest bases, and he's taking some damage mostly to his creep, but still, it's not the least important of things. These mutas are trying to go unscouted, but Vindicta probably knows exactly what's coming, and when it's coming, these Widow Mines get actually seen by Antis, who's now preparing to react accordingly. That's a lot of melee army here for Antis, a lot of lanes, a lot of Banes, but he needs to micro this in a very good way, because Vindicta has set up a pretty good offensive position.
Run by happening here by Antis. Gonna try to get into the third base. Gets on top of this tank, takes it down. Widow Mine's burrowing, killing some of these Lings.
But not all of them, and these lanes are bound to take some damage. Not cutting reinforcements completely, yes, but forcing some of this army back, while the main army actually collapses with the rest of Vindicta's army, and it looks like a lot of Banelings died for nothing. Antis setting up also the Middle East attack, but he's going to find some missile turrets waiting for him, and Vindicta can just unsiege the mines and prepare to push on another location. This 4 actually ate so many Banelings shots.
Yeah, very well deflected, keeping those mutas out of his main while he pushes forward. Now Ling's running in, the Thor's going to get surrounded and picked off here. Oh, barely surviving with 9 HP.
A little bit of a misplay from Antis, and by little bit I mean a huge misplay of Antis. Another Thor is there, but what can Antis do here? Oh wait, was issued over here by Antis. 20 FPS.
Oh.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, hopefully the game will recover. I'm getting clean 80, 85 right now. My ping's
I
pretty
don't
low.
even
So it
know
looks
how
like,
to actually check it, but I guess I'm around the same, probably a little bit more.
yeah,
It's going perfectly fine for me. Hope it's going
yeah, it
perfectly
looks like,
fine for the stream as well, of course.
yeah, I think so. And most importantly, hopefully this recovers for the players.
Yeah, of course. Well, it seems like the players are ready to go. 3, 2, 1, and we're back into the game. And is setting up his Vipers. It's going to be the most important part of this defense. Vindicta goes splits. These Banelings trading for just a couple Marines. Vindicta is on fire right now. These Vipers need to save their energy for the most important parts. Banelings and Lings collapsing on the whole army of Vindicta. But the positioning of those Marines just locks these Lings out of the battle. So many Lings dying for free, but Vindicta will be in the end deflected. Antis, huge economy, is making it work. Vindicta a little bit behind in economy.
Yeah, while this is all happening in the background, we do have several Ultralisks. We got, I think, 2 more in production, 1 already completed. +3 attack is just about finished. These Lings continue to keep on top of the Marines.
And a parasitic bomb on top of these Medivac forces a full retreat. These Lings will not kill Vindicta straight up. But Antis, as Ultras out now, these Vipers are, oh my god, they are so out of position. The Vipers are incredibly important. One of them is going to fall, the other barely survives.
And it almost flew into a Widow Mine on the other side. I was watching that, and for a split second I was like, oh no, wrong way to flee. But
losing Vipers must be the worst feeling possible as a Zerg player. I can tell you that.
Yeah. That being said, we have 6 more Ultralisks being produced on top of the 5 that are already out on the field.
Yeah, it looks like Antis is really well prepared to advance into the latest stage of ZVT. Vindicta on the other side, we're not seeing yet his signature play, which is Ghosts, of course, and Nukes. But he is still trying to figure out how to deal with these Ultras without advancing into a later stage of tech. He needs something strong right now and not later. So he cannot really take up yet, but he will do so probably in just a bit. This mobile army of Bio by now has dealt such an astounding amount of damage. Muda's trying to also get on top of the Medivacs. One of them is going to fall, a little bit of a misplay by Vindicta with the Parasitic Bomb being casted by Antis. But the Zerg player is not really losing economy. He's growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, and we have a full medevac that was trying to go up into the top, getting picked off, unfortunately, by those Mutalisks.
Oh, I didn't see it. Oh gosh, these Mutas.
I don't think Vindicta saw it either.
This is a full ZVT experience, action-packed, intense game. And these Ultralists are trying to do their best off creep. But my friend, Ultras off creep are not the best of units.
Yeah, there's one Ultralisk up in the 4th base of Vindicta trying to take down that PF. It's going to walk away with 50 health.
Yeah, also 2 SCV killed, like... Like, not the best deal ever, but... I mean, that Ultra was so far out of the fight anyway.
Yeah.
Vindicta also going to get even more value out of those Widow Mines. One Infestor looking for a perfect fungal to help these Ultras do the rest of the job, but it's time for Liberators to be out and force Antis into something else. Corruptors on the way immediately for the Zerg player, but he needs to do something right now. Vindicta on the other side of the map, taking one hatchery. Not the most important of hatcheries for Antis. This position over here is instead very important. Good fungal on top of the Marauders. He needs one more on top of the rest of the army, but lots of Ultras are falling down left and right. Vindicta is overpowering this location, and right now Antis has his reinforcements on the other side prepared for the last final fight. Widowmines on board do not take the best of engagements. While Liberators and Marines are going to kill the remaining Ultralists. Both players lost so much. Antis left standing with some Corruptors and Middleists. He cannot end the game with that. But Vindicta forced a big round of production out of his opponent. And Larva is not as replaceable as Barracks at this stage of the game.
Yeah, the ability for the Zerg player to make all those units is very much reliant on having good larva management and forcing out all of these lings and just the instant response units. It's kind of hurting
exactly.
right now.
That's the reason he's making more ultras, but 38 more lings, a whole larva cycle spent into lings and ultralists. What does Antis have to face these Corruptors? These Liberators, just a bunch of Corruptors. Will it be enough? With the Widowmines a little bit off position, it seems like this is what is happening. But Antis, once again, another full larva cycle forced into lings. And these Ultras are dying. They're not surviving for enough fights to make it worth. Vindicta shoot away back into his base once again. But as long as the Terran was pushed into his planetary fortress, this game is not even remotely over for Antis.
Yeah, great transfuses by Antis to keep some of those Ultralisks alive during that engagement. There was a little Bane rung by into that top left base. Only took out 5 workers. Some more lings running into this third and forcing some of the workers to get pulled out. Only 1 worker falling. We got 2 dropships heading up at the top.
Yeah, exactly. And Antis is going to scout it. He's also moving part of his army to actually deal with it. Well, finally a ghost actually out for Vindicta. We will see Sign to play. 5 of the drones have fallen to a nuke over here in the south. Actually to a Liberator, sorry, and also a nuke, I think. Meanwhile, the drop over here in the top left is going to get 1 Ultra. One of the Manivac has fallen. But it looks like Vindicta is getting some interesting chip damage left and right.
Yeah, and while this is all happening, the Greater Spire is morphing. Vindicta has a fair bit of gas kind of banked up, starting to collect those minerals, and we'll see if some of these Corruptors are going to turn into Broodlords.
Oh, that is definitely the idea. Antis floating up a lot of resources while he has a lot of larva. He wants those resources to make some Broodlords, I guess. Right now, it needs defense, though. This archery will fall. On the other side, Antis has 1 full saturated mineral base. And finally, the Broodlords start morphing in. That's a lot of gas for Antis. He needs a little bit more minerals, but he's making more Corruptors. He's making what he needs to deal with his opponent. No Torts are out.
Yeah, during that push, Vindicta did get a couple really nice snipes off, picking off 2 or 3 other Corruptors. So I think that's forcing some of the replacements here.
Those
and, looks like a little bit of engage. Good fungal.
Oh, pretty good snipes on top of the Ultras. One of them almost going to fall, but the EMP on top of the Infestors, getting all of their energies. All of them are going to fall. Vindicta's ghosts are all another level. Just the Broodlords are left standing, but Vindicta is pushing on creep right now. These queens needed to do the extraordinary, and they definitely can. Vindicta solves the issue with ghosts and snipes.
Yeah, very well played by both players. Those ghosts to get the snipes on the key units like the Ultras and the Corruptors, and then eventually those Broodlords. Huge in terms of getting Vindicta that victory.
Yeah, especially like the moment in which he started using those ghosts, everything just fell apart for Antis. A nuke in the bottom right killed a bunch of workers and a couple queens. Then on the other side, he killed an archery. Then the main push, just it's not like every day you can see like an EMP shockwave without the upgrade. It 6 Infestors at once. That was
huge. Beautiful shot. Yeah. And there were a lot of plays like that. I think that's obviously what Vindicta was able to leverage in order to get that win there.
Yeah.
There's a period of time where Antis definitely had the economic lead in that game. You know, if we were to go back and look at those charts, I think for probably 90% of the game, Antis was ahead.
It was very much left unchecked for a lot of time, but Vindicta kind of expected it by just forcing his opponent into suboptimal larva cycles, and that's how he got into a super late game. And as we said before the series started, that's just where he feels most comfortable.
All right, looks like our next game is going to be Eternal Empire.
Yeah, not the best third map. But well, we will see. We will see. A very good Terran map indeed. Just slightly too big to be like completely one-sided as far as just map goes, but it's a very good map for Terran players.
Yeah, so we'll have to see what Antis has in store to try to combat that. You know, there's the slight bias in terms of Vindicta, but
yeah. Also, this must be Antis' choice, if I got this correctly. So
yeah, which is why I'm thinking he has to have something special there. Vindicta did choose the first map. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely agree. I will start with the introductions here.
Take it away.
Spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Eternal Empire, we have our blue Terran currently 1 point ahead in this best of 5 semifinals. It is Vindicta.
And spawning in the top right, your Red Zerg trying to tie the series up. It is none other than Antis.
As I was expecting, it doesn't look like any of the players are going to do something out of the ordinary as far as opening goes. It looks like they're going for the Reaper Expand and Arch Gas pool
first. Yeah. So no early aggression coming from either of these players.
It is probably going to be the leitmotif of this series. I don't think Antis is a really aggressive player, while Vindicta definitely is not.
For sure.
Yes,
what
some kind of timing though. Yes, some very powerful timings.
Yeah. I mean, what do you want to elaborate on that? Do you have any thoughts? I'm trying to think what Antis is mulling over in his head right now. He drops that game 1. What's he going to try to pull in game 2?
Well, I think Eternal Empire must be the best mute-up map in the pool. Like, mutalisks on this map are just insanely oppressive. You can go so many different places and get so much damage without a lot of counterplay. And
yeah, I think a big part of that, like you're saying with those mutas, there are these huge areas right above the natural and then right below that third base where the mutas can hide and can't get hit by anything. So I have to agree with you there. That seems to be a really wise choice.
Also, you kind of have to make a lot of turrets to just prevent the mutas from coming into your base. So you're basically, against mutas, you're basically just stating what you want to lose. Like, you have to lose something, and you just have to declare it by not putting any missile turrets nearby.
Yeah. Well, and even choosing to put missile turrets is losing something, right?
Yeah,
you're spending that money.
Exactly. On something that just doesn't do anything for you at all.
For sure.
Antis 8 early game Marines, basically. He just got one more Marine, and right now he got his leg over here. This is gigantic.
And because he killed that Marine earlier, there's no unit here. I guess the Reaper has made its way back across the map, and it's going to come and shoot this Sling away. But
this
so
is
much time
so
denied.
Big. Just look at the supply. This is so big. I cannot even stress how big this is. Like, these aliens are going to eat so much later in the game. Antis can do whatever for so long. He can send links through the map. He can get mules for free. He can do so much damage without any kind of possible counter-attack coming from Vindicta before many more Hellions are going to be through. These Hellions are going through the map, but Antius is not scared. And why should he be?
20 Lings are going to run in here and just start picking away at the workers. And these Hellions are going to have to come home to fight this.
But even then, that's not a lot of Hellions. One of them almost falls. The Reaver gets focused and he falls down. A lot of SCVs are trying to make their way towards those Hellions. 2 of them are going to survive. But the SCVs all died. A lot of fresh mules. Hellions are going to die as well. And just a beautiful play by Antis over here, forcing a Viking to land as well. But Antis doesn't care. He just goes back home, back to Macro. He has a lair, he has a Roach Warren. He's preparing for a counterattack and he's preparing to end the game, I think.
Yeah, this has been a really beautiful opening for Antis thus far. You know, getting that block has kind of opened the door for so many things by delaying those Hellions. You know, at this point, we're up 51 workers to 29 for the Zerg player, and as long as he can hold on, you know, he's got the economic advantage at this point.
Vindicta is trying to do something cheeky as well, though. He wants to push this forward. Like, you know the saying, like, when behind Dark Shrine, right? I guess that when behind battle cruisers is not that bad either.
It is certainly a reasonable approximate. And you know, at this point, we do have spores sitting in the mineral lines of each base. You know, and several queens out on the map. But battle cruisers are pretty strong. We'll have to see how well Antis is able to hold this off.
Yeah, once again, the battle cruiser is such a unit that it doesn't matter how prepared you are to face the battle cruiser. You still have to play good against it. You still have to react.
Yeah, the choice is to actually blink in, so this battlecruiser will not have the teleport out to save its life. But it's already going to get in here and start picking away at the Queen and some of these workers. Queen's going to fall quite quickly, and these workers are going down. And other Queens starting to waddle up here, going to try to fight it off. Battlecruiser's just going to fly back into that open area. Now, while this is happening, the Hellions have come in and picked off a couple of workers. Ling's trying to chase them out. They will pick up one of the Hellions. This battlecruiser is just going to hang out in this open area right here. Nothing can hit it. You know, Queen air range is pretty long. I want to say it's what do we got here? It's, you know, almost it's longer than a Colossus unupgraded, I think. So yeah, that makes it.
I think it's 9
7 or
range.
8. 9. That sounds right.
No, probably 8 actually, because actually 8 is upgraded Hydras, so it's either 8 or 9. I'm not too sure.
I believe it's 8 because I believe Colossus, when you get the upgrade,
they're
Colossus
9.
are 7, and then you get +2 at Thermal Lance, brings them up to 9, which allows them to outrange. So these Hellions still kind of sitting in here, picking off a couple Lings when they can. Oh, one of them is going to fall down.
But still, like, the push from Antis has been quite put on a delay. Like, right now there is a Spire going up, Antis is playing Roaches, so it needs to make something happen because Roaches just naturally tend to fall off later the game goes. So Antis wants to make something with those, and against a battle cruiser that bought so much time for tanks to be out, Roaches suddenly become less and less better, like every 10 seconds that passes.
Yeah, certainly not a unit that scales with time in this matchup. Or in any of the matchups, really.
Yeah. Except for, like, mirror matchup, because, like, just the player with more Roaches wins most of the time. It's like...
Yeah, ZBZ is a weird beast. I think of all of the mirror matchups, it is the one that I think scares me the most.
Yeah, it's my favorite matchup to play, actually. I used to have like 80% win rate on that matchup.
Alright, well, we do have a huge... This is going to be a two-pronged attack. We've got these 25 Roaches and then 10 Mutalisks coming out as well. Antis definitely gearing up to try to go make some damage happen here.
These battlecruisers are trying to buy his units some time to be prepared for the push, but these Roaches are relentlessly working through the map, and right now the Mutas can get on top of the tanks to help the Roaches get in position. There is a battlecruiser out yet though, so these Mutas need to be very, very careful. especially in the base of Vindicta where SCV are ready for the repairs. There is not a lot of ways in which Antis can fight that unless he makes like a ton of Corruptors, which he cannot really afford right now with this kind of push. An Infestation Pit is on the way, and a Baneley Nest as well, meaning that Antis kinda wants to transition into a more comfortable unit composition. I don't think he will stay on Roaches for much longer. And this +1 melee upgrade just stresses this even more. But Vindicta coming back into a game, of course, is a lot behind right now. He's just 2 bases behind actually right now. But just surviving, this game is such a gigantic feat, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, another thing to go along with your idea of the transition, Antis is droning up. He's taken that other base here. Ooh, Battlecruiser barely going to get out before the meters pick it off.
Oh my god, I missed it again.
Yeah, no, it was happening on the top. Now, the income advantage is still in favor, and for most of this game has been in favor of Antis. We'll see if this drop at the bottom side is going to do anything, but at the same time, we do have Mutalisk poking into the natural.
That's a lot of mutas, huh? It's not something you can just leave a missile turret and say, okay, we have a missile turret, we can just do. Vindicta is quite wisely keeping some of his marines over there. Meanwhile, a drop in the natural will not get a lot of damage. Vindicta didn't pay a lot of attention to it. He wasn't really relying on it. But once again, the scouting information is not something that you can discard that easily. I think Vindicta saw the Infestation Pit and the researching Baneley Nest. So, once again, Vindicta knows he did basically what he wanted to do.
Actually, looking at Vindicta's vision, he didn't quite get sight of that Infestation Pit. I mean, he's got to know that the tech is coming. But he doesn't have that confirmation quite yet.
Well, it is the 10 minutes mark, and Antis kinda didn't commit to his aggression, so I think he knows anyway. Here's Mutas pulling Vindicta apart in his own base.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of damage this far. I think they will not really survive right now. Vindicta with a pincer move.
Surrounded.
Oh god. That was beautiful from Vindicta.
There's 6 of them.
Oh, but he just will commit back again. I don't think he will need those mutas for a lot longer.
Off 2 more meta there. Very well played.
This Battlecruiser just never died the whole game. It's just insane. He's at 9 kills right now. He's just gonna blink away. And his mutas.
Oh, blinking. Oh. Yeah, right to the mutas. Almost getting a
That was
trap
clever.
on.
That was very clever. But Vindicta doesn't need that. Vindicta needs a siege tank to deal with this. Oh.
I'm so glad that Vindicta scanned up there before walking up that ramp, because he almost walked blind straight into a bunch of Banelings, Roaches, and Ravagers, which would have not been great for his bio-heavy army.
The tanks are sieging up in different locations, preparing to be leapfrogged. At a moment's notice, these Banelings gaining crazy connection right now. The tanks are doing their best to fight whatever is coming at them, but a lot of Marines are going to fall finally. It is just the Roaches and Ravagers standing, but the Naturalist joins the fray. The Battlecruiser is keeping the reinforcements at bay, and Vindicta has held the position. He can reinforce this quite easily. A lot of Queens are also going to fall for this, and the Ultras are locked between the Queens and the Rocks. Finally, they get through on top of the Marines, but they do not have speed, I feel, and they will die to the hands of those Marines. Tanks trying to get their best possible, but right now a lot of them have to fall to actually keep this position. Actually, just a couple, or maybe just one. These Queens have gone a little bit too far, and Antis once again forced into suboptimal larva cycles. This next round of Lings and Ultralists will definitely clear the army of Vindicta, but the transition into Liberators has had ready, and we also see 2 Ghosts Academies coming from the Terran player, who is still going to fight here at the 4th base location, not even near to the planetary, deflecting the rest of the army of Antis thanks to the choke point.
Yeah,
very
players
intense
overextending
fight.
a little bit here and there. Vindicta first trying to take that ramp, lost a few siege tanks to the Ultralisks and the Lings that were doing the wraparound, but then Antis trying to chase those units down, throwing away a couple Ultras and Lings as well.
Both
this
players.
one lone Ultralisk waddling across the map. It's going to get one Marauder and then
It's the
realize...
second time Antis does that. Like, I feel like maybe it's not the worst scouting tool, right? Because Ultras just do not die, so you can actually scout with them. But that's a weird choice, nonetheless. Vindicta trying to blindside his opponent a little bit over here.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think the fact that you can get a little bit of scouting information, and if it gets in there and starts attacking a mineral line, you know, if your opponent is distracted in other places, you can potentially get quite a bit of damage there.
Yeah, it's still 400, 300 to get that damage, but well, 300,
sure,
300.
Sure, you're right, not free.
So it's not really free, but I mean, it's one way to spend larva, right? Like, it's no use having a lot of larva if you do not spend it. Larva is a resource after all. Yeah. Oh, these Medivacs! Oh my god! Yeah, abducted into their depths. And Vindicta with a classic 2 Medivac full loss move. Antis trying to go on 2 different sides. This is very interesting coming from the Zerg player. The reinforcements are cut over here, but the goals were well defended. On the other side, Antis trying to go on the high ground on top of this 5th base that Vindicta was trying to prepare. The Vipers need to go perfect over here. One snipe gets one, the EMP both missed. But on the other side, one lone Ultralisk, one of the favorite moves out of Antis, it looks like, was cutting off a lot of reinforcements.
Yeah, I think Antis is actually in a spot in this game that he is like very, very happy with. You know, he's at max. He's got $3,000 in the bank. You know, 2,000 gas. So he's very willing to trade money here against the Terran just to deny any additional bases coming down.
And I think he will also get a kill on top of that, using almost all of his army for that. But I think Vindicta knows he needs some kind of comeback mechanic.
Coming down.
Yeah, the nuke is one of the best ones.
Drones. Oh, drones, no.
Oh my gosh! 18 drones falling down.
As well as 3 Ultralisks had just started at that base. And just getting...
God, another nuke over here. Talking about comeback maneuvers. This is as good as it gets. This nuke will not finish. Barely killed. The ghost will waste the nuke. Yeah. But Vindicta's game just started. These nukes are what we all of us know him for. So
I think it's very much the kind of maneuver that, like you said, he needed to do in order to get back in this game.
Yeah,
Antis isn't gonna let this stop him from keeping the pressure up.
It is not, but like the whole bank of Antis was gone in a second over there. All those tanks are a lot of exposed. Oh my god, the tanks are under attack from the Ultras. You never want that to happen, especially if you have ghosts behind everything else on the other side. Over here, Teal Slings with Adrenal Glands, killing the whole economy of Vindicta. So many bad moves by the Terran player all at once, and Antis took advantage of every single one of them. Vindicta trying to go for a counter.
Natural in the third.
Lings everywhere, as you were saying.
I mean, at this point in time, Vindicta kind of has to just go win, right? I mean, he's down 31 workers to 87. He's got to make a counter push here and try to get some damage. He does take out a hatchery here.
He has a lot of stuff. Like, he's not like really out of army. His army is stronger than the one of Antis by a far margin. Like, the army of Antis is just a couple of Vipers and Ultras and just Lings. Lings and Lings and Lings and Lings. He could do this, but it's a very rough going. Antis, another very good counter over here, gets one of the ghosts and is getting now on top of the rest of the army. A lot of stuff is going to fall, but not enough. 2 ghosts trying to nuke on 2 different locations.
Okay. One of the ghosts will get cleared, but another ghost is going to get its nuke off, and all these drones at the top center base are going to fall. 23 workers.
But then again, Vindicta still 30 workers behind, and Antis is relentless with his counter attacks. Over here, another round of Lings. trying to get into the natural. Not a lot of SCVs to be found there. But Vindicta
like
is a good disarray.
Yeah, I like this one burrowed ling at the top of the ramp here just to give Antis the sight. It's such a simple, beautiful move.
Yeah.
Lets him know if it's safe to run up there and get those run-bys in.
I actually think
it looks like both players.
Yeah, I actually think Antis played a very, very clever game overall.
Both these players gearing up to take what could be a final confrontation. Bunch of Banes and Ultralisks making their way down and around. Going to try to get behind this army here. And the Banelings rolling in.
Banelings trying to get on top of everything. They get a lot of those ghosts down. The army is indeed going to get cleared for Antis. But once again, Antis can just come back from this. Vindicta, every single unit is almost irreplaceable for him.
Yeah, and at this point, you know, the army's supply is starting to tip in the favor of Antis. You know, every time, like you said, that Vindicta loses some units, those are units he can't get back, whereas Antis has the bases, he has the economy to continue building these things.
This Ultra is going to get cleared over here. One of the attempts of Vindicta to get another base, but 19 SCVs have gone down, and Antis is just getting advantage in every single possible way after that marvelous push he did on two different sides with the counter with the links. Just destroyed Vindicta, I'd say.
Yeah, both of these players doing a really good job of you know, fighting dirty. You know, you gonna punch me here, well I'll nuke your base there. You know, back and forth. But I mean, when we look at the supply here, Antis is double his opponent's supply, 160 to 80. I am struggling to see what magic Vindicta can pull out of this.
Also, he's basically mining only from two bases overall. Like, one base is completely saturated and two are half saturated, but the one on the right is going to fall. The Ultras, Lings and everything, and the army of Vindicta can just not fight this much. Zerg, GG gets gold, and Antis ties the score.
Beautiful game. You know, it's really nice to see those longer, like, kind of macro games where you get into these, you know, ultras and broodlords and whatnot. Yeah, recently I was doing we were doing a PvP series, and every match is pretty quick.
Yeah. But then again, he's also kind of exhausting for both players. So whoever gets into the finals, I'm not sure that the other series will be this long, to put it this way. Like, all four players are basically at the same level, so all games are very, very even. But I don't think that PvT can get as long as EVT.
For sure.
Especially such a... Sorry, you were saying?
Oh, I was going to say, we're climbing into Game 3. It's going to be on Nightshade.
Exactly.
So each player being able to pick up one match here.
Yeah, going into one of the most standard maps, at least for the matchup. Not a lot of things can really go wrong either way on Nightshade. There are some really minor things that can just make it work a little bit better for any of the race in those scenarios. But at this stage of the series, I will say it's more about playstyle and less about race.
Alright, you want to introduce our first player here?
Of course, over here, in the bottom right hand corner, we have the blue Terran player. After a rough game 2, is trying over here to get the match point. We're looking at the base of Vindicta.
And spawning in the top left of Nightshade, your red Zerg player, hot off of a big victory, trying to leverage that into another. It is Antis.
Well, Cavalber just typed in the chat that, yeah, it can get as long as EVT, and he's actually definitely right. But it's a little bit less usual, right? Like, the average CVT is like a little bit longer. It's just on average.
Yeah. Alright, well, both players, doing that pretty standard opening. Not trying to do anything too risky here. They both believe in their abilities to take this game to a macro game and win it from that position, and they've shown us that they can. Each of them picking up one game in this longer series.
And I would really love to see a very late game ZVT over here on Nightshade, because I think it's one of the maps with the highest potential of outplay once late game comes, because it's so wide. It's very, very wide.
Yeah, it's a really wide map, and there's a lot of terrain, like in the middle, ramps up and down, so ways for players to try to set up flanks and abuse vision. It's a very fun kind of map with a lot of different facets to it.
Yeah.
Nice little SCB blocking the hatchery here, and the Reaper's going to make its way over and kill this drone.
Well, the SCV is already doing a pretty good job at it. So forcing the drone into an extractor, the Reaper will start the usual dance with the links, trying to make Antis pay the tax. Won't get paid over here, but Vindicta is still going to prevent Antis from getting a fur base.
Yeah, and queens are so slow, it's going to take a very long time for the queen to get over here and shoo away these units.
Also, I think that in the current pool, probably the distance between natural and fur base on Nightshade is just the biggest one as far as the other map goes. So
Antis not going to be able to delay the command center here, but those two links that he sent across the map will pick off the SCV that was making the CC.
Yeah, it's a little good move. Once again, Vindicta just now able to put down his factory for the aliens. I think I kind of missed it, but it's not as late as it was last game, but it's still a little bit late.
Yeah, definitely not the crisp timing that he was looking for, I think.
Definitely not. His starport is going to be a lot more in time, and he's going to be making some cloak banshees, and that's the play that we were waiting for in the side of Vindicta. Never quite the aggressor in both games. Even with the battlecruiser play, it was just mostly reactionary. But right now, I think that this Banshee can do some magic.
Well, that's certainly true, and I think another thing we should point out, though, is that Antis is actually going for a little bit of a faster push this game. You get this Roach Warren much faster, and in the production tab, we have 6 roaches in the making. He's stopped producing any drones, and I think we're going to see a push at the same time as this Banshee.
Yeah, I was taking a look at that production tab for quite a while. I wasn't expecting Antis to really go overboard with the roaches, but right now he is really making a lot of units. And
yeah. I almost wonder if this third base is just a feint to kind of throw his opponent off. And yeah, here the roaches and the lings are streaming across this Banshee. Has to come home to help defend. Hellions are going to try to get in this hole here and pick off some of these units. And these roaches are going to get butchered as they're making their way back.
So one more Banshee is going to come out for Vindicta. But it looks like the Terran player is feeling pretty comfortable even after seeing these many roaches. And he's back to droning. He's also going to make a Spore Crawler in each base to try and keep these Banshees at bay. But a lot of aliens are chiming in over here at the third base. These lanes not taking the most optimal of trades. Meanwhile, I kind of lost track of the Banshee. It looks like it's not really going into anything too aggressive yet. But Vindicta is getting a lot of wrecks right now, and these Banshees can get some damage done. On top of the drones, one-shotting them. 2 are going to fall. 3, 4, and counting 5, 6. Ooh. Also, Vindicta has found quite a sweet spot over here for these Banshees. Ooh. One of them falls.
Yeah, the other one gonna have to try to hide here. It is out of energy and will not be able to stay cloaked for long. Terran not able to recall the units back out of that open airspace.
Yeah. That will be good for Terrans, right? Probably they will stop whining on Reddit.
Yeah. They did end up getting it for battle cruisers, which, which is nice.
It is definitely nice. Also, the lair for Antis is going to be done just as 640, well, actually 650. It's a little bit of a late lair, I'd say. So the tech for Antis is going to be not the crispiest. Antis going to expand to his 4th base. Meanwhile, Vindicta still didn't really place his third command center. He's going to land just now. But both players kind of kept behind in their usual very good macro opener we have seen, for example in game 1.
Yeah, I think you're saying that the layer was a little bit delayed. That was probably as a result of trying to do that early roach push.
Yeah, of course.
That really didn't get much damage because of the Banshees. They got chased all the way across both ways.
Yeah, almost as a blind counter, right? Because there is nothing that works better against a roach push than a Banshee. And right now, these Marines with Steam are just destroying the roaches. Those are mostly defense roaches. It's not like Antis was about to do anything with them, really.
Yeah.
It's just transitioning out of them, even with reconstitutional glials. It's not like he wants those roaches to do anything more than defense.
Yeah, I think they might even be a little bit of leftover from the first batch. Now we do see Infestation Pit coming down, Baneling's Nest almost done, and we have a lot of these melee upgrades coming in as well. So I think we'll see style similar to what we've seen in the previous games out of Antis. He's going to lose this hatchery though because of the tank and the stimmed bio here.
A pretty big deal over here for Vindicta. He's taking victory after victory in this game number 3. And those roaches are just not the best unit at fighting the Marines. Right now they can kind of kite with roach speed being done, but it's not what Antis is looking for. He's definitely looking for some higher tech units, and he's going to get into Hive. This lone tank almost gets sniped by Antis. Great save over here by Vindicta with the Medivac.
Okay, we've got the Hellions turning into Hellbats. They're going to start moving their way forward, and I think we're going to see the siege line here and watch Vindicta try to push up. If nothing else, he probably will be able to cancel this 4th base.
Well, I think Vindicta is trying to take way more than that. Antis rushing tech like a madman. These are slow banelings, still gonna get a ton of good connections, but do those banelings win the engagement on themselves? I think not. And Antis thinks the same. Vindicta takes game number 3.
Very well played. I think kind of that was a very nice timing. You pick off the 4th, and then right as the Zerg's trying to take the next 4th, he was able to come in here and just kind of stomp down on top of Antis. Well done by Vindicta.
Yeah, I think it was like the most one-sided game this far in this series. It was really all the good moves. There is the need of a little bit of luck getting involved in those kind of series. Like Banshees were kind of the blind counter to what Antis was doing. Even if Antis' push wasn't like super committed, he was just like trying to get some bot damage, maybe deny a 3rd base. Like the 3rd base from Vindicta wasn't going to come anytime soon. He was trying to go into Banshees and get some damage of his own. So it was a little bit of luck as well, I'd say, for the player.
The saying, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I think Vindicta put himself in a good position to be able to take advantage of all of the things that were going down for Antis. Very well done. This game was much shorter than our first 2. We were talking about these players, having to deal with these longer games and keep up their endurance. Speaking of endurance, do you want to talk about one of our sponsors?
Well, you just read my mind, my friend, because I was about to start talking about one of our great sponsors. I'm talking about F-Bomb. This is a brand of low-carb, high-fat food of course, you were probably thinking, especially in these days, locked at home, oh, I would love to start doing some diet and something such as that. And well, F-Bomb does exactly that for you. So, portable snacks, perfect for your diet. If you want to keep fit, stay healthy, I highly suggest their products. You can eat healthier and just don't give up the taste, because these products are just amazing. I would love them to be available in my country. Sadly, they are not, but trust me, in my travels, I've experienced such as that, because I'm a little bit of a gym freak. So I really appreciate these kind of sponsors doing these things for the people, and of course supporting the scene for us.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we'll have to figure out a way to get some of these sent out to you. You're over in Italy, I believe.
Yep.
Is that
Yeah.
correct? So, we'll figure out a way to make it happen.
On the Far East.
Yeah. All right. Well,
we're ready to get into the info.
Yeah.
Hello, Salvador, and the locals and in the chat. Also, thank you very much, Canuck, for the resub. Of course, Canuck, one of our finest casters. So, how is Vindicta doing? He's at match point, my friend. Vindicta is doing great.
Yeah, we're climbing into game 4 here. Vindicta up 2-1. All right. You want to take it away?
Why don't you start this time?
Okay, on match point, getting ready to try to take the victory in this semifinals. It is your blue Terran player, none other than Vindicta.
And in the bottom right and corner instead, we have our red Zerg player. He needs to step it up. He needs to win 2 in a row, but he definitely is able to do so. You're looking at the base of Antis. So Simulacrum, the wannabe Acropolis, as I do call it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think all of the maps that we've played so far have been maps that were in the previous. Oh no, I guess Everdream wasn't in the previous map pool.
Did we play on Everdream?
Let's see. Where did we? No, you're right. No, we started off.
It was Zen, then Eternal Empire, then
yeah. Nightshade. So yeah, all of the maps that we've played so far have been the maps from last season. So.
Yeah, even though like the changes on Simulacrum, you were talking about this like, not the last stream we did together, the one before that. You were talking about the changes they did to Simulacrum, and I actually think they're not the smallest of deals, like this in the third base, especially for Terran.
Yeah, having the kind of easier way to kind of like block things off definitely changed this map quite a bit in terms of how you hold that third base. So Vindicta coming up here to try to deny Antis' third once again. Oh, this drone is going to get a couple hits off.
Yeah,
on
the drone fights back. It looks like this time he will not be defeated. But the Reaper is almost made his way through. It looks like Vindicta is not really super committed into blocking that third archery from going down. Antis will get it at the timing he wants it to be down. And this Reaper will just dance with the links and try to get a couple of them down.
So far, everything's pretty normal.
Yeah, we don't even see like the usual links sent by Antis through the map to try and prevent the factory from
landing.
Yeah, from landing.
I feel like maybe Antis at this point is like, okay, I got that to work one game. I doubt I'll trick him twice. I agree.
I really agree. But when it worked, it was just a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, the Hellions were so delayed, and it allowed Antis to kind of just leverage his earlier lings and take down the Hellions as they were popping out. It was very well played.
So we have a tech lab again for Vindicta. SWAT with the starport. So it is going to be Banshee again, I think.
Yeah, there we go. I really do like battle cruisers. It would have been fun to see that in another game.
But just as I was looking at the starport, I just was thinking about what Vindicta was doing this far, and going into battle cruiser just didn't make a lot of sense, really. Not at this stage, probably. We have an armory coming down for Vindicta.
Yeah, oh, definitely with the armory. That's if there's going to be a battle cruiser, you'd be seeing the fusion core, some of those other things. There are some interesting fast battle cruiser plays, but I'm not sure that that's really in Vindicta's style.
Oh, he's the kind of guy who really likes his timing to be super crisp and super aggressive, but he's not the kind of guy who does this multiple times a single series. Banshees are a little bit more reliable, and that's where Vindicta's game plan falls onto, being just as much having as much reliability as possible. But that's a lot of evidence.
Yeah, Bane's just gonna poke in, get scared away by that Spore Crawler that was just about to finish, and as well as the 5 queens hanging out at that base.
Yeah, keeping those Banshees alive is a big part of these kind of pushes, because once the Elbats actually morph in, it is their job to do the most damage on top of the queens, force some of the transfuses. These Elbats trying to get a lot of damage. We have seen this build in GSL coming from, I think, Hawaiian, but this time it looks like it's working wonders for Vindicta, because a lot of queens have fallen left and right. Antis still has a powerful economy though.
No more queens alive at this point. Now these Hellbats are getting pretty red, and some queens are about to pop, so they should be able to deflect the Banshees as they run out of energy.
It's going to be both the Evolution Chamber sniped. That's not the smallest of deals either. Hellbats are probably finally going to fall right now, as well as one of the Banshees. The economy is heavily in favor of Antis. Well, not heavily, it's still in favor of Antis. But the losses were pretty big. I don't think the supply will stay in favor of the Zerg for quite a lot of time, with all of those queens falling down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not having queens means that he's not going to be able to get all those injects, which means he's not going to be able to produce as many units. Yeah, very, very well played. That was a very strong push from Vindicta.
That's a little bit of an old style push, like something out of 2018, but it's still a fairly strong one, right? It's very hard to expect it, and you just need Banelings to deal with it. Or Roaches, of course. You cannot hold it just with queens, not without taking some major losses at least. But Antis is answering with an Hydra Den as soon as his lair is done, and when you lose a lot of queens, Hydra Den is a good way of spending larva, getting a powerful unit, and just not having a bank of resources up. So I kind of like the choice of revolving onto Hydralisk. But as you've seen, the bank of Antis is growing bigger and bigger, and his army is not.
Yeah, a little bit of a push here. 2 tanks in the medevac are going to get dropped out and tucked in that little corner.
Scary location.
This is a really nice. Yeah, this is a nice little choke that he can fall back to.
Vindicta also going to save all of his marines. Oh, the tanks though are probably not going to be saved. And overall, Antis, with a good defense, is going to deflect Vindicta's attempt to deal even more damage. Oh, that funky move trying to take the last standing Baneling almost managed to do it. One more queen falls.
Hydra's coming out, but with the tank and these Marines, I think these Hydralisks are going to have to run away and get back to creep. They're so slow off of it.
And there is not a lot of units for defense.
Yeah, as this pushes in, the Hydras are starting to fall. Once those go, yeah, that's gonna be game. Vindicta takes the first series.
And it's very sad to see Antis go, but that push from Vindicta was just a little bit too strong. Antis floating so many resources for such an astoundingly long amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, losing those queens, he had to pull those queens for the fight, but losing them was such a big blow. It's very, very good timing by the Terran player. Just knowing, hey, if I hit right now, he's not going to have any units to defend, and I'll be able to kind of force him into an uncomfortable position in a few minutes when he can't produce units to defend.
I also have to say, like, once, like a long ago, like when this kind of push was actually the thing, I actually got coached about it because I wasn't quite able to deal with it, and I was like seeing in Antis' moves the same errors I made, like keeping those queens a little bit, like, okay, you want to get a concave, getting a concave is a good idea. It means all your queens are going to be in a good position, but most of his queens were very close together, and these queens just like, they all died at once, basically, because they were taking so much splash damage.
Yeah, that's true. If he'd kind of spaced them out a little bit so that the Hellbats, were only focusing on like one at a time, that probably could have helped a little bit. And even when he saw this push starting to come, I don't play Zerg, but I wonder if maybe throwing down like a macro hatchery or something like that would have been helpful.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know what his money was, but
like it's never really a bad move to throw down a macro hatchery. Like, even at the highest of levels, like probably players like Cyril or Raynor probably just don't go for a macro hatch because they just think, if I want to get another hatchery, I will just get another base.
Sure.
But that's the top players. They never miss an inject and they never lose so many queens. And I think that for whoever is not Raynor, Cyril, or Rogue or Dark, like adding a macro hatch after taking a severe queen loss is just the way to go. Like, you kind of need production in that scenario. And Antis was floating a lot of resources.
Very well played by both players.
Indeed.
Antis, I think, definitely held it way better than I would have been able to.
Of course, yeah. It's not even remotely close. I will have just GG'd
exactly.
immediately as I see that many Elbats. Like,
yeah. I think I would just tap out, be like, all right, cool, I'm dead.
I'm done. Okay, let's go next. Like, there is no way.
The highest level.
Yeah, of course.
We are waiting right now. The next match that we have coming up is going to be Cuddlebear versus Art. So we'll have a TVP. Both players are logging on and should be figuring out the map picks and bans.
Yeah, they're probably going through the video phase just now. But before going into that, I want to go into something a little bit different right now. So I will just go to my monitor real quick, go into the chat for the stream, type !match arena to bring up a couple links just to over here, and the code. Going to copy this code and go over here into our Match Arena page for Alpha Scrims 13. Over here, by signing in with whichever method you find most suiting, you can click on contribute and then just use the code you have just copied over here, click on contribute, and boom, 50 cents added to the prize pool for free. It just takes like not even a minute of your time, and it just makes such a big difference for the players and of course for us, allowing us to make these guys make their efforts worth it and help us cast even more of those events. Of course, we have two different match arenas over here, one for first and second position, and I'm gonna use also the second one for the third place. That is funnily enough, the third place prize has a more contribution than the first and second one, but I will not go over that, and I will just thank whoever has put a little bit of his time into this and help us contribute for the match arenas.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you to everybody for helping support the players, make sure that we can do these kinds of events for you. Yeah, I mean, especially in these times when everybody's working from home and staying home, it's great to have this kind of content being created. So we need to thank the players for investing their time, and this is one way that we can do that.
Definitely, like having the possibility of just using those match arena codes and keeping the scene alive without a huge commitment, either from the sponsors or the people who contribute into this, is just great. And the match arena crew, I work with them. They're just great people. They're just awesome. They love their job and they love to be able to improve the scene for whichever game. And they just, most of them love StarCraft. So it's one more reason to help us get more money into the prize pool through that method.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, it looks like we do have Cuddle Bear here.
Yep, we're waiting for Art. Art is here, actually.
Oh, yep, Art just popped in as well.
Also, like, I'm just taking a look right now and my clan over here on... What the actual... Why am I in clan C32225?
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier. I was like, what's going on with that?
And just looking at the clan, like, it just... Like, there's a lot of people here.
Huh.
Sushi's here.
Interesting. I wonder if there's some sort of glitch where Blizzard reset international clan tag. Interesting.
Okay. Wow. That is interesting though. Like that's an interesting choice of letters and numbers. Like it's totally random, but okay. I mean, whatever. Okay, so Caliber Art are here. It looks like.
Yeah, we're gonna be starting off on Golden Wall. Cuddle Bear gonna take a second to go grab some water. Gotta stay hydrated.
Of course.
So interesting. Last series, all of the games were played on the maps that have been around for 2 seasons. This series, we're just starting off right out the gate on Golden Wall. Now this is a PVT instead of a ZVT.
But then again, like Golden Wall is like the king of an imbalanced map, right? It's just almost asymmetrical as a map. Like it's very, very hard to just not do anything cheeky on this map and just get an advantage.
Yeah, with the mining out attack paths in the back and the 2 gold bases that you can take from either side, I think it's a very interesting play. One thing that I realized I haven't seen too much yet are Terran players just taking that, you build the command center inside, then lifting and going out there. Probably because you can't transfer the workers. But I wonder, I think it'd be interesting to make the command center, load up a bunch of workers in it, don't orbital it quite yet, fly out and land on the backside and see if you can stay protected.
I've seen this being done like on the Golden Base.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, on the Golden Base. I thought you meant on the Pocket Base. Yeah, on the Golden Base, I think it's a very interesting thing to do. Like, very interesting. But then again, it's a little bit risky, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, by building and floating it out there, it's going to take you a lot longer to start mining.
Yeah, but you can go for a very, very aggressive early, like, free Rex play if you do that. So it kind of also relies on the matchup and many things, right? Really many things. Yeah. Well, we're going into a new series And this is the first time we're going to introduce these two players to you guys. Spawning over here in the right hand side of Golden Wall, we have the green Terran. Hitting from North America, it is Cuddle Bear.
And his opponent spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map, representing the pink color. Our Protoss player, it is the Polish Art.
Well, to be even more correct, this is not pink. This is light pink. According to the client, this is light pink. Like they have two different colors for light pink and pink.
My apologies. I apparently failed color school.
Yeah, according to Blizzard, at least.
According to Blizzard.
Yeah. I didn't even knew like light pink existed before StarCraft 2 came into my life, but yeah, it exists apparently.
I mean, there's a huge palette of colors, wide array.
Well, I guess we have a total different name for this color in Italian. Like we call it a whole different thing. Like
interesting.
I think we call it lilac, like the translation. But I don't. I'm not really super sure it's like the most correct translation. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It always, I don't know, I find it super fascinating how different cultures and like different languages have those different words that like are totally non-translatable, or even if they're not non-translatable, they aren't directly applicable, right?
Yeah.
Lilac is like this lightish pink, but yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, even then, like, it's not like you're gonna use this word, like, ever, possibly. Like, you can live a whole life in another country without having ever the urge to say the word, like, in Italian we call it lilla.
Mm-hmm.
And it also sounds really weird. Like, I don't really remember the last time I said this word, because I just, like, do you speak about colors that often? I don't think so, right?
Not really. Okay, so this Reaper is going to get in here and see this Oracle come out. Pretty big play. I think very worth it to Cuddlebear to sacrifice that, because he now is aware, all right, something's coming across the map, and he's going to, well, I was going to say he's going to keep those Marines in the main. He's putting them on the ramp, I think, to make it easy to run to whichever base.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. But over here, the player from Cuddlebear also starts getting very, very cheeky. We have 2 wrecks before the starport. Of course, the Cyclone for defense is going to be ready as soon as the Oracle joins the fray. And that's a very, very good timing for Cuddlebear's Cyclone to be out. And it's going to be 3 racks before the starport. Huh. And Cuddlebear already mining out the pocket base over here. Yeah, Cuddlebear has something in his mind.
Now, we should point out Art on the other side of the map is starting to pool up some of these Phoenixes, hitting a little bit of a supply block here. It should clear up in just a moment as the pylon at the third base finishes up. But he's kept these Phoenixes kind of hidden in the back side.
Yeah, he's just going to go probably to 4 and then just transition into something else. We see a Forge and a Robo being dropped by Art. Already has a third base down. Both players going extremely into macro. Like this, like I really love, like TVP is my favorite matchup to cast. I probably never told you so, but I really love TVP. I think it's like the matchup I have casted the most, and for this reason is the matchup I know most things about, and I just find it incredible how the slightest difference between a regular build order and an irregular build order makes such a huge difference. And both players are kind of rushing over here. Art is rushing tech, while Cuddlebear is rushing his counter to that, which is just a lot of bio.
Yeah, interesting. I really like the play out of Art. He actually didn't see that third Rax, but he already is going into the Robo Bay. She's gonna get some sort of splash damage. Okay, tagging stuff with the Oracle.
Solar Council being brought up a lot on the later side, of course. Once you go Stargate, like going into Blink just takes a little bit more time. You cannot just go straight into Blink because you will die to any kind of a timing attack. You need to get your Robo up first, and that's what Art did. He still needs probably his charge to be done to phase a lot of bio, so he's going to be getting his Twilight Council and start to charge probably immediately as the Twilight Council is done. Well, he doesn't have the gas yet, but he will. Trust me, he will.
Yeah, I think he's prioritizing getting that Thermal Lance and the Colossi started here. There we go, charge just now, getting dropped down. What is the plural of Colossus? Colossus. Yeah, Colossus is the plural of Colossus.
Really?
I think we should change it though. It should be Colossusin.
Isn't it Colossi?
Is it Colossi? I don't know.
Well, Colossus is a Latin word. Like, it's from Latin. I actually studied Latin, and the plural of Colossus is Colossi. Well, it's Colossi.
Okay, cool.
But you don't...
Colossi.
Yeah, but let's call it Colossi. Like, the way it is written is C-O-S-S-I. So, Colossi, right?
Okay, yeah. That sounds right to me. I'm going to defer to your language skills.
Yeah.
I'm but a humble mechanical engineer. I don't do words good.
Well,
all right. Okay, we've got big drop here in the main. We've got 2 Colossi coming in. Gonna force pick up here. A couple pylons getting picked off and 3 workers falling down. But that army gonna have to fly out. Now the Phoenix are gonna come and try to chase this down. And there's a few Marines should be enough to scare off Phoenix.
I think Art is not happy. Oh my god, the Oracle falls down. Art is definitely not happy about this right now. 2 Phoenixes fall down. Almost a third one. The Oracle as well. And all of his tech buildings were actually unpowered. +1 armor. Not +1 armor, sorry. Charge and extended thermal lance were actually, for a lot of time, blocked by the lack of a pylon field to power up those buildings.
I wonder what Art's attention was on. We do have an EMP coming out, taking down shields to some of these zealots. While it's happening, a bunch of zealots pushing back the stuff at the natural. And it looks like Art has been able to kind of fend this off and hold his position here. But he is behind in the worker count at this point, and that's not a place you want to be as the Protoss player.
Most importantly, he's a little bit behind in tech. Like, just now Blink has started, and you kind of need Blink once you want to get at least into Disruptors and you want to build more Colossi up, because once the Liberators and Vikings come into play, you have to just keep this mobile army of Stalkers at the ready to deflect Liberators and Vikings. And his Blink is going to be done in time. Cuddlebear wasn't really rushing either Vikings or Liberators, but his army is quite strong, and he already has Shockwave, so his EMPs will be very, very big. Okay, the fight starts in the natural. Beautiful EMP gets almost all of the Stalkers and the Phoenixes. Right now, the Colossi coming from behind. The army of Cuddlebear is getting pincered over here by Art, but he's still going to get some very important key units. 2 Colossi will fall down, and Cuddlebear taking another little victory over here, but Art doesn't want to stay pinned in his own base. He's sending a Warp Prism full of Zealots through the map, and he's probably looking to warp in even more over here at the natural of the Terran player, looking for some more damage. And meanwhile, Cuddlebear almost loses 1 Medivac. Actually, definitely loses 1 Medivac.
Yeah, I think perhaps Cuddlebear was looking at the couple Marines he had up in the 3rd base of Art. You know, those popped in and were able to pick off 3 workers, but definitely not worth it for losing those 2 Medivacs.
Yeah, definitely not. +2/+2 coming for Art ground army. These Warp Prism still not committing into the aggression. He is probably waiting for Cuddlebear to move out with his full power and get as much damage as possible. Calber almost maxed out, by the way, and these Raptors are finally coming into play. It is down to Micro right now, and that is the most beautiful part of this matchup. So many key units from both sides are about to clash. These Raptors, Colossi, Stalkers, Archons, Vikings, Medivacs, Ghosts. This is just such a beautiful matchup.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how this ends up panning out. We do have a Dark Shrine that's halfway done. Interesting to see. Okay, a couple of Zealots doing a run by.
Oh, the Warp Prism falls before getting a full Warp Pin of Zealots. That's pretty big and pretty rough for Art indeed.
Yeah, the Zealots in that Prism were able to pick off 2 workers, but 2 workers again for 4 Zealots in a Warp Prism. Not really what you want to have happen.
Not at all. The Army of Art kind of out of position over here. Cuddlebear looking for an observer that isn't here. You were saying?
Yeah, I think perhaps Art was trying to put those units to the top so he could wrap around and kind of pincer Cuddlebear there. But Cuddlebear going up and engaging with the smaller top half that was supposed to sneak up. Okay, both players going to kind of start pushing forward. Now these Stalkers getting in some free pock shots. Cuddlebear going to try to find a good position here. He's sending his ghosts off to the side. Perhaps he's going to try to wrap around with them, or okay, just repositioning.
So the Blink forward. Rise for Art trying to take a little bit more damage. But right now, I'm super interested at 2 things happening in the main base of the Protoss player. The first one is over here and is Storm, and the second one is a Fleet Beacon and 2 most targets. Meanwhile, the fight has begun on the other side. Beautiful EMPs coming from Cuddlebear, and the Army of Art is just melting the one of Cuddlebear through these Raptors shots, getting perfectly in the middle of the army of the Terran player. Most of the key units have fallen for Art, just 1 Archon barely standing alive, but 2 Disruptors are still much able to deal a lot of damage. It's just Stalkers alive, but on the other side, a full Warping of Zealots is getting so much damage, preventing the army of Cuddlebear to reach the main entrance to his base, where this bunch of Stalkers and Disruptors is wreaking havoc at the economy of the Terran player. These Zealots fully cleared the 2 bases, and it's 43 workers dead right now. Disruptors trying to block the wall, to break the wall, trying to break the last standing forces of the Terran player, and meanwhile back home Art is already transitioning, ready to deal the finishing blow with Carriers, Dark Templars, more Archons, plus 3 ground weapons, and Cuddlebear is on his knees.
Yeah, I mean, so we had that first Warping of Zealots coming down to those pocket bases, and they got cleaned up by Cuddlebear, but then Cuddlebear moved his army up to take on the main army, and I think the entire mineral line, and something like 40 workers fell to the next round of Zealots that got warped in the back. Look at this, yeah, so far a total of 46 workers have fallen. I think definitely some of those had fallen before, but a huge number fell to the follow-up Warping.
Yeah, definitely.
Plus, of course, all the things that fell in the natural.
Lots of damage coming from Art. Cuddlebear is expanding closer and closer to its opponent's base, and these Liberators were incredibly good for the last engagement, but they were not there, and now the from Cuddlebear was very clever, but right now these Stalkers are just trying to blink on top of the Liberators. Once again, the Carriers are up
as well. He has these DTs. A moment ago, they were patrolling all around the map to make sure that there were no other bases anywhere else. Art doing a really good job of making sure that his opponent is Templar.
Templars starting to get some damage. One of them was actually got by a ghost with an EMP and then killed. But yeah, the damage is actually clamping up right now.
Yeah, there's still one.
Pray tell.
Oh, it's
electrifying power, and right now the GG gets cold and Art overpowers its opponent.
Yeah, very well played. If he goes for the gas, I don't think he'll quite be able to hit his units.
He's going for the shield battery, apparently.
I mean, that's a totally legitimate play as well here.
Yeah, this threat, but the Banshee will die with 15 kills.
Oof. Very well done. All right, game 3 once again on one of the new maps. Picking it up on Everdream.
At this point, is there even a reasoning behind it? And Vindicta is now going to see a second Stalker, I guess. Well, he's now going into... Yeah, he sees the second Stalker, even if his scouting doesn't into the main of Vindicta. Once again, Art doesn't really want his opponent to research combat shields. He really hates that upgrade. And he will get fired, letting 2 Widowmines to their deaths. But right now, this blink point, this choke point is not the most. You talk with us and just be interactive with the whole community. And so, hats off to Vindicta and Art for being 2 great members of Starbase. He knows this is Banshee, he knows this is Cloak, he knows everything he needs to know about this.
Yeah, immediately throwing down a shield battery in the Oracle to come home and have that revelation. So right now we don't quite have a rowboat yet.
Yeah, there is one Oracle with the Revelation at the ready as enough energy. At least it will have
position of being down all of these workers, or can go try to push him and abuse the fact that he made 2 Oracles. Unfortunately, as we saw, the push was it totally, if he'd caught Art out of position, it could have been, we could be explaining it the other way.
It's just apparently a regular map. Wait.
Looks like we're gonna remake the game here.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't have game art on.
Yeah.
No, they did have game art on. Check.
I don't know.
No, match history was hidden.
Is it? So I don't think this map has any issues like this, but some of the maps are not symmetrically balanced. I was talking to someone. There's a 2v2 map that you can, if you're cannon rushing, you can like seal a probe in with 1 pylon. Typically, most bases require 3 or 4 pylons.
Yeah.
But this just like right behind a mineral patch, you just like drop a pylon and the probe is safe with a cannon. And so, but it only works on one side. So I was talking to some people and they're saying like if they ever play in a 2v2 tournament where this map is in play, if you queue up and you're on the other side, not fair play whatsoever.
Well,
in any case,
as Kozan suggested in the chat, it was probably the run server. It's weird, but Vindicta just realized immediately it was the run server. So, all right.
Yeah, see, we're on Eastern United States now, so
yeah, probably makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Probably it was on Western the game before.
Yeah.
But let's get into the introductions once more. Over here, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, you're looking at the base of the blue Terran hailing from North America, looking to just bring this series a little bit further and getting 1 victory, blocking his opponent from getting into match point. It is Vindicta.
And spawning in the top right, trying to take another game and continue his undefeated streak here. It is our light pink Protoss player, none other than Art.
Well, talking Vindicta, and this pylon cannot be something else than a Stargate.
Like, I think you're right.
Come on, this has to be a Stargate. Yes, it is.
For sure, yeah, there it goes. And Art, very aware that Vindicta probably was watching Art's game against Cuddle Bear, so he doesn't want to drop it in the same place, putting it somewhere else. A little bit of a head game there. Vindicta's going to come up here, see the 1 pylon, and know, okay, I got to go look for it. And I'd be interested to see if Vindicta goes and checks that high ground spot near the middle of the map.
Yeah, that will be interesting, but of course I think Art also knows his opponent was looking at that game, so he kind of has chosen a different location for his proxy. As you were saying, of course.
Yep, there goes the Reaper to check for it.
But I think Vindicta will also check, over here in the bottom of the map, and he will see it.
Okay, yeah, it almost went right past, but good scouting here.
So he reacts with a Widowmine. I would have liked to see a Marine first and a Cyclone, but of course that's not going to be enough most of the times against the Oracle, especially if it's this close. Of course, he still needs to pull the SCVs. There is the bunker over here to retreat to. And saving one SCV into the bunker. Crazy good move over there. The Widowmine will burrow, blocking the Oracle from getting into the production. But right here are the Marines that will force the Oracle back. Amazing play by Vindicta.
Yeah, I really like hiding the SCV in the bunker there. Really slick.
Raises up the depots to prevent is going for the Terran. On the other side of the map, we have Blink on the way for Art. Of course, a little bit on the late side because of the Stargate play, but Art, of course, is not going to commit into the Stargate knowing it's so far from home and it's so easy to get destroyed.
Yeah, very, very wise. You know, it's like, okay, this has been scouted. It gave me the information I wanted. Oh, okay. The Adept getting picked off by these Marines. Very well played by Vindicta. Kind of pushing out and killing off a unit for free there.
Yeah, Vindicta taking a lot of small victories this game this far. Looks like he's about to be dealing with the Blink Stalkers, of course. But he's right now dropping over here at the pylon to block his target from doing anything else for the remainder of the game. While the Oracle just trying to keep track of these Medivac through a revelation. These Stalkers over here are getting on top of Medivac from Vindicta.
That's
Vindicta.
A huge pick off there. Getting the full Medivac there. Now we do have Banshees in production, but and the revelation was just used. But this Oracle almost has 50 energy again, and these Stalkers are gonna be able to just blink up in here because of the high ground sight from the Oracle.
And this is looking so bad. The game was going so fine for Vindicta right now. He needs to empty that bunker. The Cyclone is all the way through the map, and it actually dies to one single Stalker. There is the Banshee out, but these Stalkers are killing so many SCVs, and they can just blink into safety. At least almost all of them. 6 SCVs down. More mining time denied. The Cyclone has been killed. A full Medivac. A bunch of Marines and a lot of SCVs.
Yeah, I mean, Art has a lot of momentum at this point in time. He's got full information. He's kind of gotten in, done a bunch of damage, and again, just the taking out that full Medivac as it was trying to go across the map. Not even the fact that he denied it from doing any damage, but the fact that he just killed it outright. It's a huge psychological blow, I think, as well.
Yeah, and also the scouting information Art got by blinking into the main. Of course, one more reason to love Blink as an upgrade. Of course, Art with the Oracle, checking if anything is threatening his Stalkers. Nothing is there to threaten his Stalkers. He can just blink back into the main of his opponent. And more SCVs are bound to fall. Vindicta falling more and more behind. Art being solid, being aggressive, and taking a lot of victories after playing a rough early game. Is now destroying his opponent both psychologically and in the game. Blink Stalkers getting here in the natural as well. They just double it down, and now also a recall is going to save both of these remaining Stalkers, while over here this Banshee, all he can do is just attack this lone pylon and do nothing else.
Yeah, and I think, salvaging the bunker here, sending the Marines and the tanks, Vindicta's kind of got the feeling, okay.
Vindicta still trying to make this Banshee work for something, and it looks like this one is going to get a couple kills on top of
a bunch of my mules. But there's a Warp Prism over here that's coming across the map. with all these stalkers, a bunch of zealots inside, I think we're going to see the Warp Prism drop a bunch of their zealots into the main while the push is occurring. And we'll see how well Vindicta can handle this. Banshee gonna immediately die, flying straight into those stalkers. Vindicta scanning to see, was there an observer there that gave me away? How did he know?
As you were saying, not really much going on for Vindicta right now. Of course, the goals are going to be his comeback maneuver, just like he tried to do versus Antis and basically managed to do so by getting a victory with nukes. Right now, he needs way more than just a couple nukes well placed to get back into this game. His economy is rising up slowly and steadily, but the upgrades for art and the tech advantage he's getting is quite getting out of control right now.
Vindicta trying to get some damage done with it, doing a good job of kind of knowing what's going on and keeping himself safe.
Also, the Boros players, staying in the face of his opponent. Right now with the Warp Prism as well, with 2 Eye Templars and Storm at the ready. The Warp Prism is a little bit too ahead, still going to get a Storm down over here. EMP barely misses the Eye Templars, will get the Warp Prism. But right now Art is also getting a Robotics Bay and is getting ready for a push that is surely to come in the next minute of this game. Ooh, Vindicta.
Yeah. Vindicta goes ahead and loads up a medevac. It is going to fly right over these zealots though, so Art's going to see it coming. Now, Vindicta, seeing the zealot is going to drop these guys out, stim them, and most likely try to kill these units. But it does mean that the medevac drop will not end up doing any damage here.
There's also 1 Marine for Vindicta in the 4th base location of Art, getting some scouting information, but the Protoss player is trying to get over here. Choke point, not very easy to attack for the Protoss player. Vindicta has prepared a very safe location from which his opponent cannot really make much happen. And I really like how Vindicta has played this very safe. After a very rough mid-game, oh my god, this Warp Prism gets melted by EMP and Marines and Ghosts, and right now these Ghosts still have a couple EMPs in them to get on top of the Eye Templars. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, a Liberator will get 4 probes killed, and Vindicta right now. Vindicta almost maxed out. Well, there is one Disruptor out right now. Actually, 2 Disruptors. This EMP was crazy, oh my god.
Yeah, doesn't quite hit the High Templar, but he takes out the shields on almost all the Stalkers, as well as the Immortal and one of the Disruptors.
Liberator sieging up here between the rocks, which are going to be broken by Vindicta, who doesn't want to lose half his army to Disruption Novas or Storm, of course. This choke point, not the best location, even if he has tanks. This Liberator will fall to Blink Stalkers, but once again, the huge problem for Vindicta was his tanks being just unsieged. Art, with a revelation on top of the whole army of Vindicta, was able to blink in just at the right moment. Once again, these Oracles are so important for the Protoss players. Disruption Nova will get on top of one of the tanks, will not do much more. Now the Stalkers blink forward, getting the tank, getting the Liberators. Art getting cheap damage on the army of Vindicta, but right now another great EMP gets off the army of Art in out of shields scenarios. Right now Art can engage on everything, and he definitely tries to do so. His army is steamed to Orange Elf, and the Disruptors are now pushing forward. Of course, Storm is going to get on the bunch army of the bunch of the bio of Vindicta, but both players losing so much right now. Liberator will get one of the Immortals, and basically both players lost all of their units.
Yeah, I don't think either player really came out ahead on that fight. Army supplies being dropped back down to 34 and 55 for Art and Vindicta respectively. So Vindicta, like you're saying, has a fair number of units. He's got these tanks here. And Art needs to make a few more robo units, I think.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
cranking out some disruptors. Here comes some Colossi as well. +3 attack almost finished. For Art, Vindicta starting his on the other side of the map as well.
Of course, carriers and disruptors are a very iconic duo right now. It looks like Art is going into that kind of army with +3 ground weapons. Of course, these Colossi also are going to pack a punch. Meanwhile, Vindicta is going up into more and more ghosts and will probably start building more and more liberators as well. Liberator's range also on the way right now. Very important upgrade, of course, against disruptors. But I'm not too sure if his anti-air is as strong as it needs to be right now.
Well, I don't think he's aware of these Star.
To the Medivac again and flies off into safety. There are a couple of soldiers over here. This Medivac is not safe at all and he will indeed fall down, leaving this 12 HP.
I don't think that's quite out of range. Oh. Yeah, no, it's not. And the Stalker comes up and just finishes it off.
That's a noof moment, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. And, at this point, the pendulum has swung back the other way. Art up in supply, 182 to 154. Ahead in workers by a little bit, but also just a big army lead.
So +3 armor on the way for Art. Shields upgrades also started, of course, because why not? But right now, Vindicta is getting a powerful amount of ghosts. Of course, his army is just not replaceable right now. He needs to... Oh, he's making more Ghost Academies. I think he wants to get into nukes right now. I think it's probably the right time to do so. He's also making more command centers to be able to scan at his at a moment's notice anytime he wants. But the Army of Art almost maxed out. A lot of carriers, good upgrades, a good bunch of ground army to deal with the Marines. First nuke is on the way for Vindicta. But I would have liked to see some more Vikings being... Oh! I was waiting for this moment to arrive, and it looks like battle cruisers are finally going to be the transition for Vindicta. I was actually thinking about saying I would like to see some battle cruisers, but then I just stopped saying it because I think I thought like that was just my
Up 8 workers and then leave, but now they're flying back in and they just found 5 carriers, so gonna quickly fall.
Of course, Artist, and meanwhile on the other side, Vindicta flying off with some medivacs. There are 5 carriers as well right here. They are going to clear this, but that's mostly the way that Vindicta was going to move away the army of Art, because he's nuking on the other side, going to get 5 probes and a pylon. But Vindicta still far behind in supply, while still having quite a good economy. He needs something more than this right now. One more nuke over here at this location. And this time Art looks like he wants to just straight up stop it. Will it be on time? He won't.
It won't. And the observers are going to fall at the same time. But there's a big fight happening at the bottom. The carriers and the Colossi and the Stalkers come, as well as the battle cruisers. Going to be enough to push back the Colossus carrier army.
The most important thing over here for Art, he is knocking down both the Ghost Academies while they were producing some nukes. This Ghost Academy has a nuke in it, it's burning down, but once Vindicta saves it, he will have one more nuke at the ready for himself. But Art trading a lot of his army right now, and I'm not too sure if that was for the best. Vindicta finally starts repairing this ghost account.
Yeah, I was watching that. I was like, is he gonna do it? And finally, he pulls a couple boys over to do that. Another unit coming down. Now there is a cannon. So if a unit gets there, but it doesn't look like there's anything in the vicinity. So worker's gonna walk away. Looks like I might just get one worker. Maybe this warping in DT. Okay. Yeah. Just the pylon and the cannon.
Yeah, not the biggest of deals. Art.
Now, while that's happening, 2 DTs in the top left side are picking off 7 different workers. One of the DTs will fall, the other one will run to safety outside of the scan range. DT blink just now starting up, but again at the top, a blink from Vindicta saving a battlecruiser that came in to try to kill some stuff.
These matches going so back and from Vindicta's, from Art's army. One more nuke over here. And Vindicta is just doing it again from a position he was so behind. It looks like nukes are the best comeback mechanic he was looking to get.
And while he's pulling Art down to the bottom with the nukes, the battlecruiser is up in the top center of the map, killing 9 workers. And it's just sitting in this open airspace. Carrier's not even chasing it down, and I believe it blinked in, so it still has some cooldown on its blink. It cannot fly home to safety, forcing Art's army to come back home once again. But by the time the army gets there, I think he's going to be able to blink home.
Also, I know it's like a minor thing, but I really like how Vindicta, when he scans, he never scans just a single location. Of course, the battlecruiser will be safe after killing, I think it was an Archon, I'm not even sure. I like how he scans in multiple locations, so it doesn't look like he's just going in one place and just scanning for the observer over there. And you know, you scan there, you see the observer, and as Art, you know that the ghost is going to be in that location. He usually scans in at least 2 different locations, if not 3, so that his opponents can never really know what his intentions are. And even if it's minor, I think it's a really, really clever move. Right now, a lot of battlecruisers are ready.
Another big nuke coming down here at that west side base. We'll see how many workers it's going to pick off.
Oh my god, this is the best blink I've ever seen out of some battlecruisers. So many. The amount of cannons on top of the carriers. All of the carriers were almost dead thanks to the EMPs, and Vindicta is just too clever for this game, everybody. That's the victory.
Well played.
Game 3.
Vindicta down a little bit at the beginning, but showing how if you pull out those nukes and the battlecruisers, you can come back from just about anything.
This game was insane. Was such a good performance from Vindicta. And just wow. Just wow.
Yeah. I just his control and knowing when to drop those, where to drop them, as well as okay, well, I'm going to draw you over here with my nuke, and while I do that, I'm going to blink into the back of your base with a battlecruiser. Like you're saying, 200 IQ plays out of the Terran player there. Very, very pleasurable to watch.
Just so much happening on my screen at all times. Just drops here, like another run by over there, then carriers are fighting in that side while the battlecruisers are blinking on the other side and the nuke is coming down. Just 2 players playing at their best, and when the level is this high, it's just a pleasure to watch.
Alright, so it looks like Vindicta is on EU now. We are waiting for Art to get in here, and then we'll be heading into the next game of the series. Now we should point out that that's the first game of the day that Art has dropped. You know, Vindicta taking it away from him. You know, Art had gone against Cuddlebear earlier, winning that series 3-0, and he was up 2 games, 2-0 at this point. But can we see Vindicta pull it out and start pulling ahead now that he's broken the chain?
Well, if there is a good game from which to start your winning streak, I think it's this one. Like, winning this kind of games just gives you momentum. Like, you just feel a lot better. And coming into the next map, I think this is a very interesting map. I think this is the best, the map he played the best in the series versus Antis. Even if it was a rough going after Antis had an incredible opener, he just managed to stay alive for such a long time, and I'm eager to see him play on this map, on this matchup. Mostly because this is a heavily favored Terran map in this matchup. Just because of that. Like, if there was any time in which to play this map, I think this is the best possible one.
For sure, for sure. You know, you come off that last win, go into this game on Eternal Empire, and try to continue your streak from there. Looks like Art is online. Vindicta pasting the lobby link in once more to allow Art to climb in here.
Yeah, of course he is. He's taking his time as always with this. Slightly less than optimal computer, to say the least. Well, Art is not here yet. Oh, no, he's here.
Yeah, he's on the server. To kind of help Art improve his computer, if you folks want to contribute to the prize pool, head on over to that Matcherino, type in the code there, completely free to you, and you're adding money to this prize pool, and perhaps, with some of the earnings from here, Art can go ahead and upgrade his setup a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
And I believe if you subscribe here on Twitch, you can go ahead and get the replay packs, and I think, I'll double check here, but I think you can also donate to the Matcherino to get the replays as well. I will confirm that right now.
I'm not super sure about it, but of course, if you sub to Twitch, of course, you're going to get all of the replay packs. Of course, also of the series we have casted this few days past this far. We have seen Sound versus Chance, for example. We are going to see our very own Code A style groups for some of the players who just barely didn't manage to qualify to Code S GSL, like sort of Astrea, Sound, True, and the likes of these very high level players. You're going to have also these kind of replays, and it looks like Art is just asked for us. Someone in the chat is typing. Oh, it's Beats actually typing. Can we just keep ahead to when Vindicta starts using nukes? And well, if we would do that, I think he would like win all of the games if this is how he uses nukes, because this guy is just too good at nuking. Okay.
So this next map is going to be Eternal Empire. Vindicta hot off of a win here, hoping to try to make something happen. Well, let's see if he can do it.
Also, reading the chat, Art is from Poland, if you wanted to know even more specifically. So,
if they were asking
swapping between servers is actually mandatory to keep it even. Let's get into this game number 4 here on Eternal Empire, spawning in the bottom left hand corner. We're looking at the base of the blue Terran. His name is Vindicta.
And spawning in the top right. So I noticed the last couple games, when Art was doing not the last couple games, but when Art was going for that proxy Stargate play, he does it up by a cybernetics core right after.
Yeah, looks like you're right. Of course, you need the gas a little bit earlier to drop that 215 Stargate to 20 at least. Of course, you were seeing that correctly. I think this is going to be a Twilight Council play. I'm fairly sure about it. Dropping right now the second gas. Meanwhile, Art being on the face of its opponent, of course, trying to check what's going on and what's not.
On his way out, he will see the second pylon, puts them at ease a little bit, knowing, okay, everything is as it should be, you don't have anything hidden across the map.
So when this core is done, Art, not really full of resources right now, he's going to wait for minerals and gas to drop his deck down. And it's going to be a Twilight Council.
Good call. I think Art definitely leaning on that Blink Stalker play earlier on. One Stalker is going to come down here and start trying to scare the Reaper away, and it'll do a pretty good job of it.
Vindicta keeping his SCV in the top left of the map. Like,
I was just looking at that too.
It could have been like a proxy starport if that was closer to just get the Hellions in the base of your opponent sooner, but I don't think it's going to be that. Also, Vindicta not really making... well, he is making Hellions, so I think he's going to... oh, okay. This is an armory hidden in the top left of the map. So we're probably gonna see a very aggressive Hellbat, Marines, and Medivac push, I feel like.
Yeah, I think that's certainly what's going on here. Blink is going to be okay against that, but Hellbats are pretty tanky units, so it all comes down to whether or not Art just has enough stuff, right? Can he make enough gateway units to hold?
Well, but right now Vindicta has made a tech lab next to the factory and he's making a tank. So I'm failing to see the reason for these for these armor.
Of course, that flies in the face of everything we just said.
Oh, drilling claws.
The drilling claws. Interesting. So that's at the armory.
Okay, that's starting to make some sense to me. Of course, drilling claws. You need the armory to do that. Meanwhile, Art is getting his blink. Of course, almost done. Not even sure if he chrono boosted that. Didn't feel the urge to do it. Vindicta is scouting with one alien. But you play Protoss, right? Am I correct?
I do.
Yeah, and as a Protoss player against Terran, you are usually like, you know you're about to face either an Hellion drop, or some kind of a Medivac Marine drop, or some kind of Widowmine drop. If you do not see any of those at you, like, don't you actually be a little bit what is going on?
Yeah, at this point, I'd be thinking, okay, there's usually, like you said, a medevac with 2 mines in it or something like that. I think the fact that he sees the siege tank now is a slightly better idea of what's going on. He's going to try to loop around with this, but as I say, he has a better idea. I think he feels more comfortable in knowing what's going on. I don't think he realizes that these tunneling claws are going to hit with a slightly delayed drilling claw, or not tunneling claw, drilling claw attack.
Well,
yeah.
Imagine lurkers in the end of the terrain, right?
Okay, so these stalkers looking to blink up here, but a little dicey. Okay, getting outside of the range of the tank, so they're going to jump in, pick up a couple workers, then probably just try to blink right back on out.
Well, that's a lot of Marines though, so these stalkers need to blink at their best capabilities. Art able to keep all of them alive with some Alpha Star reflexes, but the Liberator is going through the map, and on the other side we have a Medivac with 2 Widow Mines, and these are drilling close Widow Mines, like, so they can keep on eating and keep on eating and keep on eating. Oh, good shot over here. Crazy good shot. 9 probes fall down to the ends of Vindicta, and Art is not looking extremely strong as far as economy goes. 11 workers have fallen to Widow Mines this far.
Yeah, the Liberator coming across on the right side did pick off 2 workers, but there were 2 stalkers standing right there from the beginning, so they were able to kill it pretty quickly.
Yeah, probably just to make Vindicta panic a little bit, but it looks like he's not really reacting to it in any way. And I just love how Vindicta just... he knows his way into winning against Art, his ghosts. And he's just rushing them right now. 7 minutes, he's going to have a Ghost Academy at the ready before even having a fair base up. So he's learning a lot from Game 3, in which he was forced behind by a bad early game, and he had to take his third a little bit later, and he had to defend it with a lot of army, but you saw it work just fine against Art. So right now he's refining that kind of reactionary build and making it its thing by making goals a lot earlier than usual and just now expanding at the 8-minute mark.
Yeah. Great scan by Vindicta. There's an observer that had been sitting over the army of Vindicta for quite some time. I think he finally saw it and picked it off. And these missile turrets are going to finish here and prevent this warp prism from going into the main. Now the army is on the low ground here at the third, so I don't think these zealots are going to be able to get much damage done at all.
Yeah, definitely. So these Widow Mines also waddling to the side of the warp prism. Art is not really reacting to it, not just yet, and the warp prism falls down. Wasn't able to do in game 2 on Purity and Industry.
At this point, Art is
Vespian Geyser is a good reason to risk this base.
Oh, for sure.
And as far as these games have been going, Art has clearly been the aggressor this far. He's moving forward with 3 Colossi. He has Warp Prism speed for his High Templars with Storm once the time is 9. And right now, he's also making a couple Disruptors at a time. These Stalkers, of course, trying to fight over there. But that's the reason why this is a good Terran map. Breaking through the natural, it's almost impossible against a good Terran. Over here there is one other ramp. Vindicta is slightly out of position, but there is a missile turret to prevent the Colossi from going too forward.
Yeah. And the sensor tower definitely letting Vindicta know everything that's going on. You can see the army moving around. The Zealot walking right past this Widow Mine here. Little scouting Widow Mine.
Once again, Vindicta loading up 3 Medivacs and going through the map. This time Art doesn't know about it. But yeah, it could be disastrous if Art moves just at the right time.
So Art they fly into the pylon. It's gonna...
Well, he wasn't convinced he was going to end the game, so he decided to recall his whole army. But even then, it's just... Even psychologically, like, we've seen something very similar happen in game number 1, and Art didn't recall at all. Art just pushed forward and won the game. This time, Vindicta has put his opponent on his toes. This time, Art is not risking anything, he's just recalling back home. He needs to keep this army alive, and he needs to keep his economy going, because this game is not gonna be as easy as game 1. Vindicta is playing immensely better right now, and it's showing off. 4th base going on. These ghosts are full of energy, tanks are sieged, good EMP. Because the fight could go incredibly wrong if he decides to take a Resonating Glaze, +2 armor, +2 ground weapons, +1 air weapons actually, as well as Shadow Stride. Art taking so many upgrades at once right now. 5 SCVs dying actually right now, I'm not even sure where.
It was a little storm drop down at the 4th base. Warp Prism unloaded one and 2 High Templars, and they threw down some interference there. Now, behind this, I think if Art can keep up these bases, he is up on bases. He's at max supply here, so he's going to start trying to trade into all of Vindicta's army, and he has the money to go ahead and instantly replace it with whatever he wants. So, continuing to throw down a couple more gateways, make some disruptors, another warp prism, things like that. I think this is kind of favoring Art, unless Vindicta can start doing some of the harass that we saw last game with those nukes and the battle.
And this Liberator sieging up in a little bit of an unlucky spot, but the problem right here is that Art is not really slowing what he just took. They just did, sorry.
Yeah, no. I think we all know where you're going. Liberators did get a couple of probe kills up on the top side before getting shooed off. One of them might have fallen actually, but just kind of poking and pulling around this fourth base of Vindicta. Art back up at max supply and continuing to try to build up a little bit of bank. You just got the extra gateways that he made last time, so you can try to instantly replace that army. And Liberators are not sieged, and see if he can try to push in, and he's going to go for it. He's going to blink on top, trying to take these out. A couple of big Liberator hits, or a couple big Disruptor hits. One of them's actually going to miss, and the EMPs are going to push this army back after taking the shield out of almost all of these units. We'll be able to push through and take game number 4.
That is match point for the Protoss player after a very, very rough game number 3. This time, even though Vindicta tried to play a similar game to what he did and tried to do everything at the best of his possibilities, I think Art just kinda didn't do the same mistakes as before. Even playing a little bit more cautiously, as that play we were talking about recalling his whole army instead of moving forward. Eventually everything worked for him in the way that he just out-macroed his opponent, because he knew that Vindicta basically forced himself into a suboptimal economical build. So once he started getting some chip damage at that 4th base location, he could just replace his army. Vindicta could not.
Yeah, I think it's really important to note that when he started pushing in there, you mentioned the recall coming back to save. It was at that point that I think he realized, hey, I'm not going to break this. This guy's got a lot of siege tanks. Vindicta is just bunkering down, and he immediately threw down 2 more Nexuses and decided to just macro his way out. And we could see that he was able to continue doing that chip damage, throwing his units away and just replacing them at a higher rate than Vindicta was able to. So well played by Art.
I think you actually made an incredible important statement. I think that was probably the moment in which Art won the game. Like, I think that was a very clever move from the Protoss player.
Yeah. Now, that being said, that isn't to say that Vindicta was out of it by any means at that point. I think absolutely. It was just the wise choice. That's like, okay, cool. You know what? You don't have a mobile army. I'm going to go ahead and abuse that and make sure that I can get an advantage. So
also, from a certain point forward, like Vindicta wasn't really able to get the economy damage he was getting from the early game to the mid game. At one point, he just stopped getting that damage, and Art just started defending basically everywhere. And Vindicta kind of finished his possibilities. Like, he didn't have many more things to do. All it was left was nukes, and he wasn't quite ever able to get into that stage.
Yeah. I think it's a really important point as well. He just didn't quite get to the point where he was pulling his opponent apart.
Also, you were talking about the mobility of the army, and this time I have seen Art make significantly more stalkers than in the other games. I think he has done so many stalkers this game. Oh well. Well, anyway, he was making so many stalkers, and he was doing so much with them, and that in the moment he decided not to fight the 4th base, just add on, and there was a planetary over there, and just go on the high ground, that is a rough moment for the Terran player, because it means all of your defenses need to be moved, and as a Terran player, it's not the easiest of things.
Yeah, it's certainly true. Alright, well, we are in this game here. Yeah.
Art has match point right now, only dropping 1 map this far. Looking strong indeed.
Now this is on NA, so Vindicta's got a slight advantage on that front, but we'll see if he can leverage it. I think it will come down to whether or not he can, respond to what Art is doing, make sure that he doesn't get stuck in the last game having an immobile army, and just control the game until he gets to that later stage. Would you like to introduce our first player here?
Of course, we are in the top left hand corner of Simulacrum, looking at the base of the Blue Terran, just one loss away from defeat in his best of 7 finals. It is Vindicta.
And his opponent spawning in the bottom right, hot off of a win and looking to take another. It is the pink Protoss player, Art.
I don't know what it is, but I just have the feeling one of these two players will do something insanely aggressive this time. Also, is this a...
This probe's path is a little bit wonky here.
Yeah.
Maybe it was going around to make sure there wasn't a proxy at the third base there.
But so it can always make sense, like to just check for anything too off, especially on a map such as Simulacrum, which like it's a very weird, like pretty much the same as Acropolis. Like it's a really wide map from corner to corner. Like there is a lot of places in which you can do a lot of stuff. Like once again, this is the wannabe Acropolis that never managed to be as good as Acropolis.
Now looking at this, Art has sent a second probe out here, dropping a pylon up at the north. Well, I think we're going to see another Stargate here.
Yeah,
I think so. The second cast finishing up.
Yeah, I think my itch was absolutely correct. I don't know why. I just knew it. Art is going to drop this target over here. 215, quite a crisp timing as well. Just you cannot get it anytime earlier than 215. It's just the perfect timing. And Art is just gonna also scout for some proxies with his probe over here before actually going back home to his natural. Meanwhile, Vindicta, command center on the low ground as well as a bunker, is getting everything he needs to deal with whatever Art throws at him in the early game. But will he be ready to this close of a Stargate at such an early timing? That's a whole other beast.
The Oracle's going to walk in there. There is one mine in production. It should be out in time. And it is rallied into... Oh, okay, well, he just changed it. It was... Oh, back and forth. He's changing his mind. It was in the main, then outside, and now it looks like it's going back in between the two gas geysers, which is directly in the path of the Oracle. So the mine is coming out. Will it burrow? The Oracle is just about out. It's not down. Okay. Yeah. So it comes down whether or not Art...
Oh my god, how did he know? Just how did he know?
I think he was going down to pick off the SCV that was building the starport. And he goes ahead and gets another SCV that was making the supply depot. And he's gonna go ahead and out of energy.
Almost gets the Widowman, doesn't read it, but the other Widowman gets to shot Oracle down.
Yeah. And at this point, Vindicta does. Go ahead.
3 SCVs for an Oracle. I mean, you are not probably going to replace these Oracles anytime soon, so losing one is not probably the best thing you want. Like, this Oracle needs to stay alive at all costs, it needs the Revelation. There are attacks in the natural, forcing Vindicta out of mining right now. And Art is getting so many more workers than his opponent, dropping a 4th base, pushing his advantage a little bit forward just by provoking his opponent into just not mining from there, moving his army over there, and then just moving SCVs left and right, forcing a reaction. And that's just interesting. Also very interesting that Vindicta actually decided to cancel his Raven and go into Steampack ASAP, as well as an NG Bay and a factory with a tech lab and another barracks. To a total of 3. Looks like he has standardized his game plan instead of going for a Raven. Of course, the Raven is a very defensive unit. You can use for aggression, mostly just with all the turrets being dropped in the mineral lines, but that's not the best tool over us. So Vindicta just decided not to stay on the defense for too long. He's making units, and he's making quite a lot of them.
Yeah, stim and combat shields are in the works right now. A bunch of Marines getting produced as well as a tank, and I'm sure we'll start to see some more medevacs come out of this starport pretty soon. More Phoenix continuing to get added on. He hit 4 and then decided that if a couple of something is good, why not get more of it? Up to 5 at this point.
These Phoenixes are a very good unit overall. Such a versatile, good for any kind of opener. And Art is really making use of them. But I think what he will use them most is for sniping down his Medivac and maybe trying to get the tanks. Of course, the Medivac just barely survives with a boost, but Vindicta, he scans the third base of Art and taps out immediately.
Yeah, he sees that base is completed. He knows his push is going to not be able to get any damage done because of this Phoenix that are going to blow things up. And very well played by Art.
Well, call it build order victory, call it just pushing your opponents to his limits. I think Art has played a masterful series, but that one game Vindicta won, that was a masterpiece of Terran play.
For sure, and I think
I'd say overall the better player won the series, but that one game, if Vindicta is able to show more of that one game, I think this guy is virtually unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to point out, Art hadn't dropped a single game and didn't again after that, but Vindicta got into a beautiful position and was able to almost orchestrate pulling Art left and right, up and down with those nukes and the battle cruisers, and very well played, very enjoyable game to watch. So congratulations to Art for taking first place in this, and Vindicta, of course, congratulations for second place.
For second place, yeah.
I just downloaded them. I can go ahead and open them up.
Yeah. I will glad if you do so, because I just have to, like, if I do so, the people won't see your webcam, so for a little bit. So just do it yourself.
Totally. Let me get it.
Yeah, I have to do some little stuff like to hide Discord. Otherwise, I will spoil the number of games.
Let me see. I think if I
third place is a best of 5 bits. It's not a best of 3. It's a best of 5.
Yeah, best of 3.
It's a best of 3.
Sure. It is a best of 3. Yes, we got.
Oh, it's a best of 3. Okay, it's a best of 3. I'm sorry.
Yep. Let me show it in the folder. All right, I'm gonna drag these in here, and I want to make sure that I open the correct replay first. I accidentally double-clicked it, so it just launched it with single player here. We'll quit out of that.
There is this one time in which I actually did this for a resume from replay, and basically I just started the replay for all the players. And it wasn't a good thing.
Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, if I put this in a folder, that'll make it easier to find. New folder. What did it before?
So just tell us, what is the first map of this best of 3?
The first map of this best of 3, actually I'll pull it up here. If I scroll down, it should be in here. So the first map is going to be on Purity and Industry. So again, we're getting a lot of these fun games out of these like non-standard maps.
Yeah, I guess it's Cuddlebear's choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
This time the matchup is wildly different though. CVT, Purity and Industry, it's a side of TBO. I mean, I think there is, I'm not too sure if you know about this, but like the top level players are actually vetoing this map in on ladder.
Interesting.
Like not even like, I think I was looking at Rainer's stream a little while ago and he's actually vetoing this map in ladder, and that's something pretty much unheard of for high level players, because of course they need to train also for best of 7. It's it just stresses how bad it is for Zerg, Purity and Industry, of course. So let's see if Antis is able to make it work for him, while many other Zergs cannot.
Yeah, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and promote you to host so that you can control things as needed, and go ahead and take it away whenever you are ready.
Well, what about now?
Sounds great to me. So this is the third place match here. It's a TVZ, Terran of course being Cuddlebear, Zerg, Antis, and here we go.
Let's start here in the top side, left side of Purity and Industry. On the Purity side, we see the Pure in Essence race, aka the Zerg. In blue, it is Antis.
And spawning on the dark Alpha X, we have none other than Cuddlebear.
So Antis, everything pretty regular this far. I was actually curious. I was seeing Antis not producing anything for such a long time. Then I actually remembered that Purity and Industry, natural to main distance, is insanely big. Like,
yeah, it takes a little while to walk down there.
It takes so much. I think like you almost need 2 creep tumors to link the creep. Like almost. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, and for a moment, Antis was making an evolution chamber out of this draw. I would have
Instead
loved
of the spawning pool.
Yeah. He didn't do it for just a miracle, I think. Meanwhile, Cuddlebear once again with his miracle wall off in the natural, of course. Who needs supply depots, right?
Yeah. Interesting choice to put the first supply depot on the high ground and then go for the barracks on the low.
Antis is going to see over here a factory on the low ground. I don't think he's too scared about anything happening right now. Of course, he's still going to make quite a lot of Zerglings, so, well, who knows. Like 6 Zerglings instead of 4, like not too much, but still.
Yeah, I'm wondering if is the placement of the buildings slightly different this time? It looks like there's a gap there between the supply depot and the factory. But you know, when we were watching the other game, it looked like a perfectly sealed wall. So
yeah,
I wonder if everything is just off by 1 square.
I think everything is just slightly off.
Well, while we've been staring at that, Reaper has been in here. It has managed to pick off 2 of the Zerglings before escaping, getting shooed away by the queens. And it's going to come over here and... Oh.
And he's almost sneaking in 2 links before the barracks was landing, but it seems like right now this is a wall. It's still a marvelous wall, if you ask me. Like, it's still beautiful to look at.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a great wall.
I would love to have the mind to do such a thing, right? Like, that is just so precise. Like, it's coming out of Minecraft, right? Not as precise as the other game, like the one versus Ark.
Sure.
That was just amazing, but yeah. And he's going to take his fur base as well, but Cuddlebear hit a little bit of a rush over here. We see a ghost coming quite early into this game.
Yeah, taking a page out of Indicta's book here. This Overlord, of course, will see that, and the Queens are fighting back these Hellions and Reapers. But they're off creep, and they're pretty slow. They can get kited down. This Queen is in a kind of precarious position here. The other Queen going to come in to help.
One of the Queens is going to die, the other is going to almost die, getting transfused. Antis is dropping down a Roach Warren. But there is a ghost out right now. Is personal clock done? No, it's not. But this ghost can just snipe Queens down right now.
Yeah. And clearing all of this creep.
Roaches are not yet out. Aliens are ready to fight the lanes while the ghost is about to start joining the battle. 4 roaches are on the way, but these aliens are getting to probably a critical amount right now, fighting Queens head on. Not a thing you see aliens do any day of the week. But right now Antis getting the ghosts, getting the aliens, getting the surround. I think he's getting Cuddlebear really, because this play has kept Cuddlebear quite behind. Right now he has ghosts, but doesn't even have a starport.
Yeah, I think the wraparound with those things is really smart, kind of forcing the Hellions to run up into the Queens more and then getting picked off. Things are streaming across. They will get barbecued here by all of these Hellions. So I don't think we're going to quite see a huge counterattack. Yeah, the Roach is getting pulled.
So much vision on the map. Like he basically knows everything that's happening, like really.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful place to put the Overlords. Kind of, that you're just splitting the map right down the middle kind of thing.
One Overlord gonna get knocked down.
One of them. Yeah.
Granting Cuddlebear some kind of map control back again. One more double snipe on top of this Overlord, and it's a little bit of a supply block. But Cuddlebear right now is finally getting some more production up. And he's making 2 tech lab next to these 2 barracks. So he's going to get combat shields and steam start in a little while. Meanwhile, Antis going to get roach speed and a 4th base. Once his Larry's done, 1 Queen also gonna immediately fall. These ghosts are starting to ramp up some damage. Cuddlebear with a very weird play is getting something done indeed.
Yeah, and like you were saying, in addition to those tech labs on the 2 barracks, we got 2 more barracks coming down. +1/+1 is about a third of the way done, and some pressure coming onto this 4th base here. Snipe gonna take out one of the roaches. I don't know if Antis is gonna be able to let this hatchery finish. Okay, here he comes with the roaches to try to save it.
There are a lot of roaches. One is going to fall to another snipe, but once roach speed is done, not even ghosts are able to keep these roaches at bay that are actually just slightly slower than the ghosts, so they cannot catch up. But right now the counter is up. Antis is at the fur base of Cuddlebear, just landed a second ago. It looks like Antis is not going to commit onto the workers. There are 3 tanks at the ready, 2 sieged up, 1 is going to siege here on the ramp. But Cuddlebear is also preparing quite the counter-attack. These roaches are not going to do much once this tank sieges up in this location. And that's exactly what... And
looks like he's going to be able to do it.
Oh, no cancel? Oh, no cancel! Oh,
okay, there it is. Last second.
Oh, roaches are getting on top of the ghosts. Both ghosts die to roaches. And that's not what you want to happen for your ghosts. This one roach is going to scout both the medevac, moving out for Cuddlebear. One queen is in position, as well as a spore crawler actually unburrowing, getting to position. Queens are trying to get down one of the medivac, and they will do so. The other loads up and flies away, leaving a bunch of Terran Bio to their death. This medivac is not safe, is not out of queen range, and many more units are going to fall. Meanwhile, Hellions were doing a run by over here at the fair base location of Antis, getting 7 workers. But was that enough? Cuddlebear is not dealing enough damage, is falling more and more behind. He doesn't have a tech, and right now Antis taking even a less than optimal engagement and still coming out on top. Now that tanks are in position, still Antis cannot break through. But still, can you just say queen range, Cuddlebear? Yes, you can. I actually didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah, that queen was able to shoot like from a mile away.
Yeah, pretty crazy, and it was unfortunate that medevac got kind of caught in the slow zone for a little bit, taking a few extra shots as it was moving over.
Still, Cuddlebear has quite the mobile army over here. You can steam back into this choke point. There are Ravagers out right now, so he might have to fall back. He does so by forcing a couple Banelings into some back connections. The rocks are broken right now though, and I'm not even sure if it favors the Terran or the Zer more right now, because of course these Ravagers do love choke points.
Yeah, that is certainly true. We got a bunch of Lings and Banes running around here.
Oh, these tanks are menacing. Perfect scan forward on top of the Ravagers. These tanks are going to get so many free shots. Cuddlebear looking strong right now. All of a sudden, these many siege tanks are looking quite scary for Antis.
Yeah, looks like those Lings and the Banes that were on the other side are going to come back and try to join the main fight. Tanks are slowly starting to fall, and the roly-polies making their way in. Ravagers coming down, dropping some shots to pick up another tank here.
Yeah, the tank count is super important for Cuddlebear. Losing 4, actually I think 3 at once, wasn't really the most optimal choice. Still some fear factor from Antis. He's blocking him from pushing forward. Of course, he doesn't want to use the unit for free. Those Widow Mines are not going to get the shots of their lives, because of course Banelings are just gonna roll through on top of the Marines. These Widow Mines, on the other hand, well, one doesn't take a good shot, the other takes a very good one, taking a bunch of Banelings, but Cuddlebear is just barely staying alive at this stage. 70 workers to 91.
Yeah, it's a pretty big economic disparity there.
Yeah, but the 7 Ultras coming from Antis is the thing that scares me the most right now.
Yeah. The Ultraless Cavern is researching right now, getting kind of speed, since we have +3 coming down for our Zerg player.
Cuddlebear looking to deal some damage with a medivac over here on the left side of the map. But, well.
There's a few spines and spores there. We'll see how much this medevac can actually get done. Although they are starting to focus down. Oh, huge fight happening at the Planetary Fortress, and finally the Ultras have revealed themselves. They're to come in here and start massacring this Planetary Fortress. And the Bio Army is not really quite enough to stop this from continuing on and doing even more damage.
Yeah, +3 was mandatory this stage for Cuddlebear. Of course, many of these Ultras are actually falling. Looks like Antis still did take a lot of damage. Meanwhile, on the other side, Cuddlebear with a Toon Drop in the main base of Antis is still making a lot happen right now. These medivacs trying to stay safe from these poor colors will not manage to stay safe for a lot longer. 19 SCVs fallen on one side, but 8 drones fallen on the other side. Cuddlebear is still going to commit a lot into this push. These medivacs are going to load up and move away. Finally, Cuddlebear getting some supply advantage. His army is mobile. is pretty much everywhere, and right now, can I just say Ultralists are a bad unit? Because I really think they are. Like, look at them.
Yeah, these Marauders are doing a great job of just kiting, tearing through the Ultralisks as they try to get chased down.
Yeah, all they do is be big and die. And right now, Widowmine's getting crazy good shots. Of course, the Ultralists can eat a lot of them, but the Marauders are just destroying them. Cuddlebear getting on top of the 4th base of Antis, forcing an evacuation, getting all of the creep, and now getting the archery as well. Meanwhile, Antis trying to replace all of its dead units. But we were talking about suboptimal larva cycles in the game against Vindicta. Well, talk about a suboptimal larva cycle. All he is doing right now is links, not even many of them, and 2 Ultralists. One of them actually falls right now. Widowmine's able to get a lot of good shots, but right now the Banelings come rolling in, getting everything they possibly can. The remaining army of Cuddlebear is very bruised. He's still trying to take 1 Ultra before actually retreating to safety. They do manage to do so. 1 more Ultra is going to fall. The army of Antis is just Banelings right now, and they can just get destroyed by a split army of Marauders. And that's exactly what is happening. Forcing some of those Widowmine shots, it's all they can do. But Antis is losing on every front. He's making a lot of links right now, but Ultralists are everything that's left in him, and these Ultras are surely not faring good.
Yeah, I mean, you know, slowly but surely, Cuddlebear has been closing that economic disparity. You know, at this point, we're only 60 to 76. Okay, little push coming in here, and now boosting into the main, but they're flying. Oh, stopping right before they went into the Spore Crawlers. Ling's coming in to try to surround these units. Just gonna get picked up and fly back out.
Well, Cuddlebear is just so ahead right now. Even if he's not taking a 5th base yet, he just replaced the 4th base he lost quite a while ago. He's just taking so much damage on every front. Finally, we see a Viper from Antis, but I feel like he should have been out for such a long time and he wasn't. Widowmine's getting perfect shots, and he's just, again, only Ultras.
And these Stim Marauders are doing a great job. Okay, Ling is going to try to come in and get us around here and hold units in place, but not going to quite be able to do it. Okay, forcing the load up there as the Banelings and Ultras started to come in. Cuddlebear sending these units up here to start getting healed. And he's doing a great job of denying Antis from expanding and taking any other bases, right? Antis has to retake that, I think it was his 4th base initially. Oh. 11 drones falling there. Very, very good Widowmine.
Yeah, and right now, this army of Cuddlebear just steaming back. The Ultralists are fighting right now, trying to get on top of the position, but I feel like Antis may have gone a little bit too forward. There is 1 lone Viper over there, almost got sniped by the army of Cuddlebear, who got again the 4th base archery out of Antis. These Overlords flying into safety, but right now Cuddlebear is on the rally point. The other part of the army, after this has been loaded up back into the Medivac, is trying to go on into the 5th base location, but there are Ultras there to keep Cuddlebear from going through. But Antis, 140 supply, Cuddlebear 190. Workers are even, and Cuddlebear is going to destroy 1 more base. The Terran player is everywhere at once, and more Ultralists are going to try and fight without finding great success in it. Antis is forced into the all-in.
Here they come. Earlier when he tried to do a run by, the mines got beautiful hits. This time they're only getting marginal hits. But as these Ultralists come in, we'll have to see whether or not all of the Marauders and Bio is enough to shut it down. Ultralists getting a little bit caught on themselves, and then they're just running kind of into a meat grinder here. Widowmine shooting a whole bunch of stuff, and Cuddlebear picking up the first game of this series.
And that was a weird game. If we just remember, this game actually started with Ghost Rush. Like
it's true.
It's pretty weird to think that it has come up to this. But
Yeah,
overall,
yeah.
like, very well played by Cuddlebear, to be completely honest. Like, this was a rough game for him to win, and being able to get that much damage with the tank push and preventing his opponent from actually getting into his base by leaving some tanks back home was actually all he needed to get back into the game. Even after losing the 4th base, the planetary, to Ultralis, he still did what he needed to be done to win the game, and I think he did a marvelous job at doing so.
For sure, for sure. You are host, so whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and start this up. And while this game is loading, let's do one more reminder. Right now we're going into game number 2 of this third place series. But anybody, if you have not yet gone into Matcherino to contribute, please consider doing so. Our players appreciate it. We appreciate it. And with the players taking their time to play these wonderful games for you, give a little something back. It's completely free for you, so you're just giving 30 seconds of your time to help support them.
Thank you very much. If you take your time, it's free, takes no time, so everyone appreciates it. So just do it, guys.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into game number 2 of this best of 3 series. Cuddlebear currently a match point to get the 3rd place of these Alpha Scrims, number 13. But on the other side of the map, we're looking at the base of the blue Zerg here on Eternal Empire. It is Antis.
And spotting in the top right, hot off of 1 win. Can he take the 2nd, or will we go on to a game number 3? It is your green Terran player, Cuddlebear.
Well. Let's talk Ultralis, right? Why are Ultralis even played in this game? They are so bad. I
think maybe it's because they're super tanky, and if they can get in on the bio units, they can start doing that.
Are they tanky? Are they even tanky? Like I feel like they just get melted.
Well, I think the last game was a bad example of that. There was there were enough Marauders there, and there weren't any Queens to help kind of transfuse that kind of thing.
Cool.
But I certainly see your point. I wonder. It's larva density, so perhaps that was something that was going on as well.
Yeah, but I think yes. I still feel like 2 banelings can do like so much more than a single Ultralis.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I don't know. Who am I to judge, right? I don't know. I really don't know. I just don't like Ultralis at all. I think they are a clunky unit. I think they are bad in the current meta. I think they are bad in a late game scenario. I think the only good reason to have Ultras is if you rush them for defense.
Okay, I can see that. Reaper gonna come in here. Ooh, almost getting himself caught as he grenades those lings behind him. Ooh, squeezing out.
That would have been very unlucky for Cuddlebear, but he manages to keep the dance with the links going, making Antis pay the tax, 1 link down. Of course, the Crypt Tumor will not fall. This Reaper greeting a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And Antis will have his fair base up as well.
Yeah, thinking about it more, I think if I'm going to go for... I don't main Zerg. I think between my off races, Zerg is a little bit better than my Terran. But I'm pretty trash with both. But I think you're right. I think I prefer Broodlords over the...
like any day.
In terms of that,
the fact about Ultras is whenever I have the gas to make Ultras, I just prefer to make Vipers. Like they just overall better, and like Cuddlebear is typing in the chat, the thing with Ultras is you only want like 5 of them. They're so tanky, but Link Bane is what kills stuff. And yeah, I agree with that, but one good Blinding Cloud, I think it can pretty much outpay an Ultralis. Like once you get a good Blinding Cloud, you guys just send in your Lings and Banes and everything just dies. But yeah.
For sure. So we got a couple of Hellions coming out. Looks like they're not going to go try to do any run-bys. One of them stopping at one tower. The other one looks like it's going to make its way over, do a little bit of scouting, and run into a queen. Should turn around pretty quickly here.
Yeah, but
make its way over.
The main play is still, of course, going to be Banshees with Cloak. And Antis not really placing his safety Spore Crawlers yet. The classic 430 safety Spore Crawlers. Well, he should be starting those though. Like, his scouting has been basically non-existent this far, so not having Spore Crawlers for safe. Okay, of course he just starts. Yeah.
You just have to say it, and the players back in time hear you.
Yeah, just to make me sound stupid, of course. And the lair also gets started at 5 minutes. Precise timing from Antis. He's looking... I have to say he's looking fine right now. These are quite a bunch of aliens also trying to go through the rocks. But there are 2 evolution chambers blocking the entrance. And the Banshee's going the long way through, trying to get into position to get some damage. But it's not going to be that easy for them.
Antis doing another good job this time of spreading those overlords out to keep tabs on everything. He sees these Hellions as they're moving around because he has that wall of overlords giving him that perfect sight. But overlords don't see invisible units. This isn't StarCraft Brood War. You have to have an upgrade for that. And these Banshees are going to come in. They're going to see the Spore, and they're just going to start trying to pick off drones one at a time.
2 drones down. There are 5 queens over here at the third base location. That means the main base is not going to be that well defended. There are 2 Spore Crawlers though. This one queen is getting into position, and there is also a macro arch being dropped by Antis, who certainly doesn't want to be unprepared in case it loses a bit too many queens. Meanwhile, the aliens just getting on top of this evolution chamber. They will get a deny on top of melee attack +1. And once again, I cannot stress how big this is. Upgrades are so important in this matchup. So important. Oh no. Infestation Pit and Hydroden being dropped by Antis. It makes sense. Hydras do not really need the upgrades. Of course, the melee upgrade doesn't do anything for them. So it makes sense to have some support units, because these Lings are going to be weak for such a big part of the game, as well as the Banelings, of course. Oh
yeah, and we do have a fair number of Lings out here with 16 more on the way. Baneling is researching our friendly neighborhood roly-poly upgrade, and we'll see if this tank and marine push can get much done. It already has forced the drones to get pulled. Ling's coming in, trying to get this round. One tank is certainly going to get surrounded and picked off here, but there's so many stimmed marines with the medevacs here.
Imagine these many Lings having +1 melee right now.
Yeah.
That would have been such a different fight.
Yeah, or if those Lings have been morphed into Banelings ahead of time.
Also.
We do have the roly-poly upgrade at this point in time. Baneling speed, of course, is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure.
And Cuddlebear's not letting up. He's moving up here into the newly taken 4th base. Siege tank is up, and it's going to start shelling away, forcing a cancel. Also,
Antis is just rushing the Hive right now. He's just getting into Hive tech without really making too much for him. Of course, Hydralisks are a very good support unit. They are going to be keeping a lot of the army of Cuddlebear at bay, while these buildings morph in and be ready to deal with the Marines. But this location Cuddlebear is establishing himself in, it's quite hard to break. This poor little drone will not really have a very easy life getting to that base.
I can't see him immediately coming down. Alright, here it goes. Link. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's off creep.
Pulling.
On the other
doesn't
side,
have the speed to catch it.
Caliber trying to get into the choke point, doesn't manage to do so, but this contain over here with the tank and the Marines still has to be broken. Caliber looking strong in game 2, and finally Antis, even off creep, is able to build enough units to actually break through. Finally these links have +1 melee, so they can fight an army of Marines. Antis will take his 4th base after quite a while. He has a lot of workers going on for him. Meanwhile, these Marines over here have got on top of one Evo chamber and on top of the other as well. This is the 3rd upgrade being denied. 3rd evolution chamber being killed. +1 melee, +2 melee, and +3 carapace. All of these upgrades have been denied once. And Cuddlebear almost getting +2/+2. Adrenal glands, of course, going to be very important for Antis in the next ult. But he needs, like, this would have been a good moment to have ultras out. But unluckily for Antis, this is not the case.
Yeah, I mean, he has the hive tech, but right now he's just playing whack-a-mole here, trying to fight the dropship up in the north and the push down at the bottom. He hasn't been able to establish a 4th base for any continued amount of time. And with all these siege tanks coming in, this is going to be really hard for Antis to defend.
Antis losing a bit too many banelings for basically nothing. There is a good counter-attack over there with the lanes on the planetary. Not going to do very much. Now that Adrenal Glands is done, these lanes can fight. 48 of more in production, +3 carapace, not even restarted. There is +2 melee on the way. The fight here at the Planetary Fortress was a disaster for Antis, losing all of his links for not a single SCVs. Right now the Banelings trying to get off creep in between those tanks. They can never do so. The Hydras are falling left and right. Banelings not getting connections, and every single piece of the puzzle is connecting over here for Cuddlebear, who's now steaming forward over this 4th base location. Antis' army is no more. 101 army supply to 38, and Cuddlebear 2-0s Antis in his best of 3 3rd place finals.
Yeah, very well played by Cuddlebear there. You know, it's unfortunate to see him get taken down so quickly by Art in the 1st set, but coming back strong to win a 2-0 over Antis.
Yeah, Antis also showed up a very good series, I guess, Vindicta as well. Very close series, only slightly losing to Vindicta. And well, it has been all for today. It's been a 5 hours tournament, actually. I didn't expect to go this far. And just before waving goodbye, just one more time, guys, just to use the last couple codes that are remaining, I want to show you once more, going into my screen, provide you with, which is AXCOM. It was 82. You just have to click on the link that goes up from the Match Arena, the exclamation mark Match Arena command. You click on contribute, sign in, choose whichever method you favor the most, and then just paste the coupon code over here and click on contribute. Of course, I have already done this, but you will add 50 cents for free to the prize pool by just using a little bit of your time, making these players' efforts worth it, making us organizers happy about seeing many more of these matches, many more of these games. Of course, there is one code for 1st and 2nd place and one for 3rd place, so make sure you use both if you want to really help us and contribute into the scene. Thank you very much,
for sure,
if you manage to do so. So it has been all for today. Just want to thank the players, thank all of you who watched this event, and of course my great co-caster and friend F equals and May. So if you want to tell where the people can find you if they want to know more about you.
Yeah, if you just head over, you're already in Twitch, so if you just do Twitch TV/it's F=MA, you can go ahead and find me there. I will be actually probably streaming in a little bit. I'm going to take a quick break and then head on over to there. We'll be playing some Protoss. See if we can break 5K today.
Well, I'll be there for sure.
Sweet, sweet. And yeah, if you want to go ahead and talk a little about where everyone can find you.
Well, you can mostly find me around here on the Alpha X SC2. Like, my passion is casting, and of course we will have a tournament on Saturday. We will have Alpha X Apprentice finals, so we will finally end what has been a great tournament after a long group stage, a long hiatus, of course due to the quarantine status. We will have our finals. Then I think we will have something more special on Sunday. I'm still working on it, about some Legends of Runeterra tournaments and stuff such as that. But yeah, I'm mostly a Legends of Runeterra player, so I play card trading games. So I'm Masters player over there, so you can, if you want to hop on twitch.tv/acontises and see me play a little bit of card games and just curse at bad luck, you will find me there. So guys, it has been all for today. We will see you for the next stream. I'm not too sure when we will cast together. I think it's probably going to be next week for something, but I'm definitely looking forward to it for some more events. So
for sure, it's been a pleasure as always.
Always the pleasure is mine, my friend. And I'll see you back on Saturday. See you soon.
Yeah. Thanks.